Very.
Okay. All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting for Wednesday, August 26th, 2026 at 6:31. Can you have a roll call?
President Gerke,
Here?
Trustee Baum,
Here.
Commissioner Ailhafen,
Here.
Commissioner Eberly,
Here.
Commissioner Howard,
Here.
Commissioner McCormick,
Here.
Commissioner Lesser,
Here.
Planner Sumwalt,
Here.
Attorney Larson,
Here.
Engineer Lysis is present in the audience, Administrator Green, and Clerk Capazzo to record the minutes.
All right, so I'm going to kind of run through the how this will work. So the first item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing. We'll start the public hearing with our planner, Oren, giving a presentation overviewing the proposal. This will be followed by the petitioner addressing the commission if they so desire. Next, the Plan Commission and Village Board members will have the opportunity to ask questions for clarification from the village planner, the applicant, and/or staff. Then we'll open the public hearing up for comments from witness testimony from those that wish to speak tonight. All speakers must fill out a speaker's slip and present it to the village clerk before taking the stand. And there are rules for that witness testimony that are included on that speaker's slip.
There are additional copies on the table near the front door, as well as additional copies of the agenda if anyone needs them.
All right, so at this point, the public hearing is now open. And before the planner gives the presentation, I will ask the clerk to read the notice of public hearing into the record.
So this was originally held last month on July 22nd, and it was adjourned to this month. So notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Lisbon Plan Commission on Wednesday, August 26th, 2026, during the regular Plan Commission meeting, which starts at 6:30 p.m. at the Richard Young Fire Station, to solicit public comments on the following item. A request by Mike Wickert, Osblick Inc. for a conditional use permit for downhill skiing and snowboarding with lights for Osblick Ski Hill in the PR zoning district on the property located at West 260, North 6395 Mary Hill Road, tax key numbers LSBT 0257.999.002 and LSBT 0224.999.005.
Great. Now, Oren, you want to start?
Yes. So we're having this public hearing regarding a proposed downhill skiing and snowboarding with lights operation for Osblick Ski Hill. The main thing that brought this about was adding the adjacent land, tax parcel 0224999005, approximately 1.97 acres. Osblick Inc. is acquiring that from the adjacent property owner, and they want to incorporate it into their plan of operation and site plan for the ski hill. The other reason we're requiring this conditional use and why it's not an amendment is that the past approvals for the ski hill came from Waukesha County. The village, prior to incorporating, was subject to Waukesha County shoreland zoning regulations, and they had jurisdiction for properties that had shoreland zoning, which they no longer do since our incorporation and adoption of our own shoreland zoning. All the use and zoning approvals are now happening through the village. The previous approval from 2010 is included in the packet materials for reference. So the petitioner has provided responses to all of the general conditional use standards from 18.04D of the zoning ordinance, and those are in your packets as well as in Foth's staff review. As far as past practice for conditional uses, we have gone through as a group and confirmed whether or not we think the petitioner has sufficiently responded to these. So I think we should do the same in this instance. As far as conditions, the site plan and plan of operation we'll get to as a separate item, but a lot of that is germane potentially to the discussion for the conditional use. I do have some conditions of approval that relate to items from that, specifically outdoor lighting, amplified music, and some, I guess, just other normal boilerplate conditions the Plan Commission is used to seeing. The first one just limits the approval to the 2 parcels that currently exist. There will likely be a new tax parcel assigned. Going back here a little bit, the village board did approve a certified survey map for this very recently. So as far as the details of the site plan of operation, again, the main reason Ausblick came forward for this was to acquire new land to build a new parking lot. They want to add 99 parking stalls to the 1.97 acre piece that they're acquiring from their neighbors to the north. And that will help address issues that have come up in the past related to traffic congestion and also a lack of space for people during events and regular ski hill operations. We're hoping that this alleviates past issues of people parking on Mary Hill Road. So the ski hill team has submitted some details that Foth requested. I want to point out that there aren't specific parking standards for ski hills in the zoning ordinance. There are, in that instance, we can look at comparable uses. The closest thing that we have would be an assembly type use based on, and we can look at how many people can exist within the lodge there at one time, which I think, according to the information provided by Ausblick, was 200 people. If we apply that standard for the parking, it would be about 150 spaces that would be needed. What I did was ask Ausblick to provide some information as far as, you know, the capacity of the hill. The response was about 300 people. Average daily use, 100 to 125 people. The lodge capacity, again, about 200 people. And then staff fluctuating on average from 12 to 20 people. On the max end, I think 75 at any one given time. So that's the detailed information I think that's more pertinent to look at as far as determining whether or not what's being provided is sufficient. So there's about 124 existing off-street parking spaces and again, 99 new ones being proposed, which would be about 223 spaces. The other thing I wanted to point out is that based on past approvals, this is incorporating the site plan of operation and CU are incorporating things that have already been approved by the county, but not developed yet by Ausblick Inc. And so they're proposing a phased development approach, which is why in the site plan of operation staff review, you see dates after certain line items for things that are included within the site plan materials. So the new parking lot is something they want to accomplish in the near term. They've got a 2027 to 2028 timeframe for that. The snowmaking and lighting infrastructure, they've got a 2028 date for that. The fill/grading, which has been ongoing, they've got a 2031 date for final completion of that. There's a new quad chairlift that would be completed by 2032. And then there's a proposed utility distribution building. There wasn't a date included in that. I think that's a near-term project as well. So probably within that 27 to 28 timeframe is what I'm guessing. Is that accurate? $31? Okay. Okay, so it's more closely tied to the chairlift. Okay. So as far as the phasing goes, the Plan Commission does have the latitude to approve all of this at one time, and I've got a condition of approval in the site plan and plan of operation that addresses that. That would be condition 11. Which acknowledges that all approved phases shall be completed by December 31st, 2032, unless an extension is approved by the Village Plan Commission prior to the expiration of this deadline. Improvements not completed by that date shall require amendment of the approved site plan, plan of operation, or other authorization deemed necessary by the village. The other item I want to discuss before we get into the more general conversation from the Plan Commission about the conditional use is just the exterior lighting. So there's kind of two portions of this. There's pole lighting proposed for the parking lot that would be 30 feet tall, full cutoff lighting. And then there's one of these uncompleted phases of development, which would include new lighting on poles for this new ski hill that's being graded out. So that hasn't been installed yet. And what's being proposed for that are these Raptor floodlights that are shown on the lighting plan that was provided. And they're going to be at about a 70-degree angle. And the code prescribes full cutoff lighting. The issue is that the industry and the safety issues for skiing demand something that's on an angle like this to fully illuminate the slope. So you've got long distance light projection that they're trying to achieve, the visibility of slope contours for the skiers, controlling glare, and then adequate vertical and horizontal illumination for safety. So because of the operational needs, ski hills commonly rely on specialized sports lighting or flood lighting rather than the strict full cutoff luminaires like you might find in parking lot lighting. So as a compromise, what I'm proposing is a general condition regarding lighting, which the petitioner has already agreed to, which is that all outdoor lighting be operated in a manner that minimizes glare, sky glow, and light trespass. Ski slopes, trails, lifts, and other recreational lighting may remain illuminated only during public operating hours and shall be extinguished within 1 hour following the close of public operations. Parking, pedestrian circulation, and building lighting shall be reduced to security levels thereafter. Any lighting required for maintenance activities, snowmaking operations, security, or emergency response may remain illuminated as necessary, but shall be limited to the minimum intensity required for the intended purpose and directed away from adjacent properties and public rights of way. The goal here is to balance the need for the light with the respect for neighbors and allow the ski hill to do all of these operations that are needed. Snowmaking, as an example, takes place typically at night when temperatures are cold. They will need some lighting for that and to do the follow-up grooming associated with the snowmaking. So I go on to have another condition that states that I'm recommending all exterior lighting fixtures except lighting necessary for ski slope operations utilize full cutoff fixtures, but that the ski slope lighting be shielded and directed to minimize glare and light trespass on adjacent properties. So I'm including a picture of a light fixture similar to what's being proposed with a visor on it. And I'm hoping that your manufacturer has that ability or that you can find another product type that would have that ability to help focus the light, reduce glare. And I think that's a good middle ground for everyone involved. And then I'm recommending that the final lighting plan just be subject to review and approval by the zoning administrator to look at what you can come up with, hopefully, for something that will work towards that. Another thing I wanted to discuss was outdoor events. So the petitioner outlines in their project narrative that there are club-sponsored events and community activities that occur at the Hill, and they go into some detail in their response to staff comments of the types of things that occur. The code allows in the PR district for temporary uses. And it says that those are subject to board approval and any conditions that may be imposed. So I have a condition in the staff review regarding that, those temporary uses be subject to board approval. It would be condition 3 in both staff review. As far as hours of operation, 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. is what's being proposed for normal operating hours. I think the past conditional use said 11:30 as far as a limit, but I don't know that that factored in your staff, getting things closed out and exiting the site. And I think your 12 a.m. timeframe probably does. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
So I don't think you're necessarily asking for more hours. I think it's just incorporating the full operation, whereas previously maybe it just was saying, lights out, ski hill's done at 11:30 p.m. Obviously, your staff have to close things up for the night and get out of there themselves. So I think that's a point of clarification on that issue. The last thing I guess I'll point out from both staff review, the amplified music that takes place, I've got a condition that be directed away from adjacent residential properties and maintained at a volume that doesn't create a nuisance or violate the village's noise regulations. But then I've got another condition that says live music, concerts, and other outdoor amplified performances be prohibited. I don't know if that's even occurred in the past. I think when you have events, it's likely occurring in the lodge if somebody has something like that. But I wanted to hear from the petitioner on that. And so if there's any questions regarding the staff review, again, a lot of the items tie together between the two, from the site plan of operation and the CU. I'd be happy to help answer what I can, and the petitioner has lots of representatives here on their team to help answer questions as well from the Plan Commission.
All right, so that was a long report. Thank you,
Yep.
Warren.
Yep.
Warren. We are going to keep it in the order. So next it would be the petitioner. If you have anything you want to add, now is your time to do so, and just step up to the microphone, each of you, so you could speak. So it's being recorded.
You're going to have to hit the switch on the mic. Yep. Perfect.
Thank you. My name is Mike Wickert. I'm president of Ausblick Ski Hill. I first want to start off by thanking all of you folks for allowing us to come in and going through this. I really appreciate your navigation and guidance on all of this. I just wanted to give a quick snapshot that about our great ski hill at Ausblick. Back in 1950 is actually when it started, and it was through Marquette University. And in 1970-71, Ausblick actually started. So we've been around for 55 years, and we really look forward to working forward in the next many years to come with the town of Lisbon. So anything that I can do to help answer this, if you want to go through one by one, I've never done this before, that would be great.
I think the points of the conditions, we'll do
Okay.
that during our actual meeting itself, as
Okay.
opposed to now during the public hearing.
Sure.
So the commission can ask you questions, and then we'll have the public make any comments they want. But is there anything else that maybe just for background information that Oren either misrepresented, or do you want to add to so that everyone's aware?
Yeah, so I think everything looks pretty good. The lighting with the visor on the ski hill, that can definitely work for us. The cutoff lights in the parking lot would be perfect. We're trying to be good stewards by adding the 99 lots to our facility to help offset any of the congestion we've had in the past on some special occasions we've had there where people have parked on the road. We've realized it's been an issue, and that would really help us moving forward. I think the only ones that we're a little concerned about is going to be what we're doing there during the day, member events, private events there, going to like the music outside or anything that's loud out there. We have had weddings in the past Generally, they're just a one-off here and there. There could be some music. Most of the music that we've always done has been inside for men's and ladies' days or gala events. But that would be the only thing is we do have music that is piped out to our hill, but you can hardly hear it as it is. But it is on and has been since I've been a member for 25 years. Other than that, I don't know if there's much more you wanted me to bring up. It just would be the events that would happen outside. I don't know if, in there you had spelled out that you had wanted us to get permission or at least call in for all of those things, but it's, all of the things that we've been doing so far, we have never done that. So I'm looking for a little clarity on that.
Mike, I'll be honest, there's 21 points here on the list, and the two that I circled are the two that you just brought up. So we're going to be talking about
Okay.
those.
Great. And Josh Podelko with Trio Engineering, working with Osplick here. I think a big point to note here is we do have a current conditional use and have been operating really as a successful club in the community. And even some of these items noted here about the lift, some of this hill lighting was all actually part of the current CUP. Osplick has just been incrementally kind of building out what they're approved to do. So really, we're not coming in asking for new elements so far really on the hill. What we're trying to do here with this update was share an update of progress to date and kind of lay out what the roadmap looks like. The real focus here and our involvement really came in with that parking lot addition. Osplick is intentional in trying to continue to be a good neighbor and understanding the parking and the need for access and overflow parking. They've worked with Newman as part of that development to acquire land that they can expand into this parking lot. And it really does hit their needs and kind of really what they're looking for. So the idea here is to be informative, additive, and really not intending to try to subtract away from what's been a really kind of wonderful and very unique operation. So we appreciate your input. There are a number of points, and I think, yeah, definitely numbers 3 and 10 would be ideal to talk about. Thank you.
Right. All right, so now from the Plan Commission members, if they have any, again, not looking for statements as much as if you have any questions that you would like to ask for clarification of village staff or the applicant, now is the time to do so. Kurt?
Sure. Thank you, President. One question I have actually several questions, but one of the questions is the conditional use permit that was issued in, I think it was May 26th of 2010. It refers to a plan dated April 22nd, 2010. Is there a copy with the details of that plan available? Warren?
I never received a copy of that plan. I reached out to the county to get the copy of the CU that they had on file, but I was not provided with a copy of that plan.
Because we talk about these things that were approved back in 2010, and now we're starting to implement them. I'm just curious what they are. I don't know. So, and I don't think anyone on this plan commission or board was present in 2010.
I was
Okay.
present in 2010, but if it was before the county, it wouldn't have come before the.
Or it
planning
did come before the plan commission for approval, I guess.
Yeah, and I actually, I was gone for 10 years, but I was on the Plan Commission in 2010.
Okay,
But my memory is not great from 16 years ago, but I remember the discussion to a certain extent.
so I would like to see a copy of that plan, however it can be acquired, because it actually is tied to this conditional use permit. So understanding what that plan was helps us clarify what this conditional use permit, they talk about plans that were already approved years ago going forward.
And we were not able to locate that.
We only go back 6,
Nope.
7 years for our records, correct?
For some records, but not for everything. For approved site plan of operation, we should have something, but there is absolutely nothing in our files. I've gone through and looked myself.
Was that the maintenance garage year?
Yes.
Okay,
And we
And the pond and everything, right? I mean,
I believe so.
do have those plans at least in our files, related to the maintenance garage. It was the hill grading, showed the lifts. We replicated on the site plan, everything from that 2010 plan that we have on our file. I think it's a fair question that, you know, you'd like to see it. It is all reflected on this current site plan.
Yeah, I just want to see it. I mean, we had a conditional use permit that's currently
Right.
valid and refers, it's the first line, it refers to a plan dated March 22nd or April 22nd, and I don't have it. I'd like to see that so that we can understand what we're talking about. So that's one clarification that I'd like to have clarified. Second, in the conditional use permit, under conditions of permit, item number 5, says one special event, a racing event for members only is allowed. And I think I've heard about multiple events here where there's up to 400 guests that are been on the hill. And we've all driven past the hill in the past, and there's parking on cars on both sides of Mary Hill. So this specifically says the conditional use permit shall have only one special event, a racing event, for members only is allowed. And then it says, no parking, item number 6, no parking is allowed within the road right of way of Mary Hill Road. So when they have these events and they have 400 people showing up at the hill and they have cars parked on both sides of Mary Hill, it's a conditional use permit. It's the actual conditional use permit that's valid today. That was issued by the county. So here's another issue with the conditional use permit. There's been a violation of both of those items. They've had special events and they've actually had parking on Mary Hill. Now, I understand they want to add additional parking, the 99 additional spots. But I would guess that even the existing 124 plus the 99 wouldn't account for 400 guests appearing on that hill. Even if it's one time a year, they're not supposed to be parking on Mary Hill Drive. So that needs to be clarified. One other conditional use that you have. So I understand you have 3 wells on your property for pumping water. I'd like to get clarification on the size of those wells and if they're in operation today. How deep they are and how big they are, and how much water are they pumping when they are in operation. So if you have all 3 wells pumping at the same time, how much water are you pulling from the aqueduct below that all the neighbors around you have their wells as part of that aqueduct? And I believe what's happening is when you do pump that water, even if it's into your retention pond, and then you pump water from your retention pond into these snowmaking machines, it creates a huge vast of open air in the aqueduct below. Because I think you're pumping in excess of 400 gallons a minute for each of those wells. And for a temporary, if you're pumping all weekend long, you're creating this void in the aqueduct that's causing
So,
neighbors to lose water.
We can have debate later, but if you have any questions, now's the time for questions of the applicant or staff.
Yep. So I asked those questions, and that's the reason why I was giving clarification to why I was asking those questions. And so, Planner Oren, I got a question for you. So if there's a conditional use permit that was issued by Waukesha County that's in existence today, and it's a valid conditional use permit. So under their normal conditions of operation today, they can continue to operate under that conditional use permit. But what they're proposing today is, I believe, either a new conditional use permit or amendment to that conditional use permit, along with amendment to their site plan. So my question is the existing conditional use permit, does that terminate when we issue a new conditional use permit? Or can we amend the existing conditional use permit that was issued by the county?
I'll defer to the village attorney to answer that specific part of that question, but to elaborate on the process that was chosen, we had the petitioner apply for a new conditional use and a new site plan of operation so that they would be issued by the village under the village's current zoning and standards. So we specifically chose to not try to amend a past conditional use from the county.
And there will not be two conditional use permits. If this is granted by the village, the county one will be terminated.
So if the current conditional use permit is terminated, it goes back to my original question. The plan to improve the ski hill needs to be part of this new conditional use permit. And we need to have the details of that because the existing conditional use permit will be terminated and the plan associated with that be terminated as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. The plans that they propose should be fully incorporated into the new one.
And then another question I have around the hours of operation. Are there certain days of the week that the ski hill is not open? Are there certain days that the ski hill closes sooner than 11:30 p.m.? So having a blanket hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. is not really a true representation of what's actually happening on the ski hill. So I'd like to have clarification on that as well.
Are you asking the board to consider having closing hours different on different days of the week?
I'm just asking, are there different hours associated with the ski hill for different days of the week, like during the week versus
But
weekends?
what they do and what the board sets by certain dates would be two different things.
So Kurt, I think to answer your question on the site plan of operation application, there is a grid on page 2 that details the hours for different uses for each day of the week. Is that what you were looking for?
Next question I have is around the light fixtures, the current light fixtures that are on the ski hill today. They are not focused. They are not screened. The current light fixture on top of the hill by where the ski lift ends is probably about 20 to 30 feet above the tree level. So the light fixture is completely exposed to everyone, all the surrounding areas. So the question I have is, with the proposed new light fixtures for this new additional area that they're proposing, are they going to be similar height? And why do they need to be that high up in the air? If they had more light fixtures, could they have more light fixtures and not be as high so they have natural screening from the trees or provide other screening? So that's another question.
Kind of addressed that to a certain extent, but do you have a more specific response now before public comments?
Just that my review did not include looking at the existing lighting that's already out there. So as far as what is being proposed, my conditions are pertaining to the uninstalled lighting that may have been previously approved by the county, but that is going to be coming in as far as the phasing plan in the term here that we're looking at for this CU. So I would have to look at the lighting plan again to see the height of the actual, the mounting height of the fixtures, but I'm certain that it's in there. Josh, is that something that you have handy in front of you?
The tallest light, 30.
Okay.
Can you go back to the older lighting plan?
So the pole, my understanding is that the pole mounted lights for the ski hill operation with the floodlights would have a dual head fixture at the top with, floodlights pointing at different parts of the slope. And it is designed to provide a certain illuminance to the slope that would be deemed to be safe and desirable for the skiing operations. And then also to minimize the number of light poles needed. That's generally how those are put together. So they're not intended to be, as far as the new lighting, lower than or screened by the trees that are out there. The village does have a requirement of a maximum foot candle level at the property line, which the new lighting would meet. And the petitioner has agreed to have visors installed on those new floodlights for the, again, the new portion of the ski hill that's currently still being filled, that hasn't been fully developed yet.
So on the conditional use permit, conditions of permit, item number 25, it says a 30-foot buffer shall be provided along the west and south lot lines utilizing the restrictions found on page 2, Exhibit A of the warranty deed of the property. This language states that the lands described, in that case, a 50-foot buffer, shall not be used by the guarantee Osblick or its successors or assigns for any skiing or winter sports activities, installation of outdoor lighting, snowmaking operations, or for access to or form any road construction on lands retained by the grantor BlizzLink and located to the north of the property. So my question to the applicant is, there's been a huge amount of ground that's been added to the ski hill on top. There's been statements that it's 20 feet higher, some say it's 30 feet higher. This conditional use permit stated that there should be a berm of 30 feet around the south end and west end of the property. So the question I have is the adding of this dirt, this berm, on top of the ski hill, it's been going on for 2 years. Is that a berm, or is that gonna be part of the ski hill where they're gonna ski from that top of that berm down the slope? And if so, are they gonna put light fixtures on top of that hill, which is already at the top of the tree line? So if you put light fixtures on top of that, there's not gonna be any screening associated with that area or the light fixtures on top of the hill. And then in addition to that, is the plan to,
Maybe if we can, maybe ask him questions, let's give him a chance to answer. Can you come back up to the microphone?
Yes, thank you. That section you referenced, I believe did it talk about a 30-foot buffer around the south and west?
yes,
So the buffer is shown, Orin has it on the screen right now. You can see it dimensioned. And if you pan the other way. So we're talking to the south and west. This is actually rotated.
Oh, so this,
Yes.
Yeah.
So it exists today. It's a 30-foot buffer where no work occurred to maintain that tree line. So it wasn't a berm, and it was intended to be a buffer that we've retained. And the contours that you see there are the 2010 approved contours, kind of what the plan has been progressing towards. And there's no skiing within that 30-foot buffer or lights. The lights you see here are the locations that were a mixture of existing and proposed in that 2010 plan, and kind of referenced in that lighting plan that they did. So the intention is not to bring anything within that 30-foot area.
the additional dirt that was added, the 30 feet high of dirt that was added to the ski hill that takes it to the tree level. Are you gonna be skiing from that top of that hill?
If you look on this map, you'll see kind of the relative relationship where those black circles are. Those indicate the lights, and that really is kind of the edge of the ski area. So you see that big buffer, that's kind of a slope down towards the property lines. In magenta here, a little hard to see, but those magenta lines are the existing topography. The darker black ones are kind of the proposed final. In a lot of cases, they're fairly similar. You're starting to see them line up as they finish these areas. But you're not going to see skiing anywhere really to the west or south of where those light poles are. So you'll have that kind of big buffer.
You didn't answer my question. The dirt that was added,
Yeah.
30-foot high pile of dirt. Is that gonna be, are you gonna ski from the top of that dirt down?
Down the hill,
Because it's right
yes.
on the south lot.
Yeah, they're gonna ski on where this new ski runs are, and there's not gonna be a 30-foot high berm in that 30-foot buffer.
No, what you're seeing here is we're gonna ski north and kind of northeast. and
Realize you're not
away
gonna
from
ski
the
south because you run into the trees,
Right,
but you're gonna ski north from the top of those, that mound of dirt
correct.
that you added over the last 2 years.
Yeah, yes, that's been the plan kind of since 2010. It's been
Okay.
progressing towards this plan. I don't know.
There's no screening on that side. Is there any planned screening to screen that area of the hill?
Yes,
What is it? There's no landscape plan that's been provided.
it wasn't required in this CUP, and I think your intention
There is
was.
landscape plans required.
Yeah, so we do have an actual like tree farm on there that, so as trees get older and they go away.
Mike, can you come over and talk into the mic so people on Zoom
Um,
can hear?
So yes, we do have a tree farm on the property that we've started a long time ago. So as some older trees mature and they go away, we go ahead and replant. So our plan is to go ahead and put all new pines all along what would be the west edge of the property.
What about south?
The south side of the property hasn't been touched or anything. We have raised the hill only 20 feet. But that already has many mature trees all along that as it is.
They're not gonna protect that. That ground is as high as those trees are right now.
It is, but it's definitely it's way off to the 30-foot buffer and then it starts to elevate there. And our plan is to add more trees on all of those sides, as well as down by the parking lot as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see a landscape plan that shows that it's protecting the neighbors to the south in Celtic Ridge to make sure, because can see at a distance, they can see the top of that pile of dirt above the trees. So I'd like to see a landscape plan for that.
Excuse me, for a second. Mr. Chairman, I think we have an issue here.
Joe, can you put your mic down, please?
Even turn it on. I think we've got a problem here. If in fact, and I believe what Eric says is the way it's going to be, the existing conditional use, once the new one goes into effect, goes away. So we have to, I think we need to start from scratch here because we need to produce a conditional use permit that covers everything since forever. So that we've got one document that incorporates what happened before, what was approved before, which no longer will exist, plus all the new stuff. Otherwise, we won't have a document that's correct. What happened up to the date that the new conditional use is implemented goes away. So all these things we're talking about, the dirt work that was done, the building, everything else doesn't exist anymore. We can't start in the middle of this project and go forward with a conditional use permit without incorporating all the stuff that's happened up until that date. It doesn't make any sense. We will not have a document. And if I was the applicant, I would insist on this also because they don't have any standing in what was or was not approved before. It doesn't exist.
So if I may, the intent is to pick up where the Waukesha County left off and now we will have our own. So yes, that's why our plans continue to speak to certain work that will be done up to 2032 or whatever it was.
I'm talking
because
about-
we're incorporating. No, you're talking about what happened up to this point, and that was approved by the conditional use permit that's still in effect.
But you just said it's not in effect.
It is in effect until we act on this and terminate the other one.
Okay, but once we terminate the other one, all the work that was approved prior to that point in time is not approved.
Wouldn't that be incorporated into ours?
It is if we start over and at the beginning and incorporate all the stuff that was approved in 2010 by Waukesha County, incorporate it, every item that's in there into the new one, it won't exist.
I thought that was the intent, was to incorporate the existing one into the new one and with
Not the
additional.
way that it's drafted right now.
All right, so we're going to, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna talk about here. We're trying to have an informed public hearing, so I think a lot of the points, we need to make sure we cover all of these when we, approve a conditional use permit. But if there's any other questions that we have of staff or applicant at this point, because I know there's public members that are itching to make their comments. But again, we want them to have as much information before we start, so,
I'm finished.
okay, is there,
My
Sure.
only question, I guess it would be to you, Orin, and the petitioners. The lighting that's proposed for the new section that'll be in the future, is that substantially different than the lighting that you've had all these years?
Negative. We're just adding more skiable terrain, so we're just adding the adequate lighting. to
But
this.
comparable type of lighting?
Yes.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, what about the style of light, fixture? You know, LED versus metal halide or something as an example. Are the new lights going to be different than the existing ones?
you want
on
to
the
speak
hill?
up so everyone else can hear you?
Sure. Is the style of bulb in the fixture going to be different?
Right,
for the
so
new
we're
lights versus-
changing with the technology as well.
Right.
We definitely started with the metal halide, and we've already started to change over into LED for efficiency, cost, and illumination. So it already has been started on our existing area right now.
Okay, so with the newer lights, you're incorporating newer technology.
Yes.
The new lights are gonna be able to be operated remotely, correct? And potentially dimmed from a cell phone presumably with an app on it? Or at least a central point at the lodge, you know?
Yeah, I don't believe they could be dimmed by a phone, but they definitely can be controlled from the, if I'm speaking correct.
We have not incorporated.
You come up to the mic. We've got people on Zoom that are trying to listen in.
The lighting that we have on the hill does not allow us to control it as far as dimming as a percentage.
Can you provide your name quick for us?
John Fink, I'm the operations director at Ausblick.
Thanks, John.
What we can do to do that, and we do this already as a regular practice, is during off hours, we use the minimum amount of safe lighting on the hill. But the current setup that we have is not set up to be controlled from a phone or to have dimming built into that. It's quite a sophisticated and expensive add-on for the amount of lighting that we have at the hill.
So that's the existing lighting. Is any of the proposed lighting going to have that ability?
We had not worked on that as part of our plan. We were going to continue to go, as one of the commissioners, I think, said, with what we've had traditionally,
Okay.
as far as how it's controlled, which is circuits, they can be turned off individually.
All right, that was all you had, Sherry?
That was my only question, was if
Is there any other,
lighting was gonna be safe.
Sean, or?
No, Mr. Chair. The only question I have is about this 2010 document is what, even though we don't have it, I know you guys have a copy. What other measures are that we can go to the county? Is it on microfiche? Is it, put on a disk somewhere? Is it on a Windows 95 system? What recourse do we have to go back to the county saying, where is this document?
Like I said, I point blank asked the planner of the day at the county for anything they had on the conditional use, and I got the conditional use document itself and no subsequent plans, so.
I know, I mean.
Well, if we're gonna create a new conditional use permit towards Joe's comment, we're gonna have to recreate what that is. So if it's not in existence
So
today,
to,
it needs to be
to
in
that,
existence.
to that comment, the petitioner has stated, or the petitioner's agent, Josh Padelko from Trio, has stated that they have taken those past approved plans and incorporated them into this site plan that's being presented. So as far as the grading is concerned, this shows existing and proposed grade. Again, hearkening back to that 2010 approval, this is showing existing and proposed lighting locations, again, based on that 2010 approval. This is showing the existing and proposed chairlift. If you looked at my review comments, I did ask for some clarification of what exists today versus what is one of the future phases yet to be built. So I've got a condition in the site plan of operation staff review, requesting a revised version of that site plan that makes those distinctions, which again is part of my staff review comments. So just to clarify again, the differences between what has been built and not been built yet as far as future phases. But all of these items go back to that 2010 approval. So the things that the 2010 approval said it was for, in the summary, in the document itself, it says the new ski lodge, maintenance building, pump house, and parking area. And those are all shown on this plan as well. So if there are conditions from that previous approval from 2010 that the Plan Commission wants to carry forward, you're allowed to apply whatever conditions you want to this approval. You can propose to include individual conditions or
A little more than you can do.
or more of those. I mean, but they, if they're reasonable and measurable, they can
Yeah.
add them, right?
And each of those items are addressed in what we have in front of us tonight. It's not like we're absent.
They're not.
Items that
I-
we could-
I don't
not include-
portend that all of my conditions are mirror of what the county previously had.
Hey,
And
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an example, the existing conditional use that's in effect today says you can only have one member-only event. Is that what you're agreeing to? It's not incorporated in any of the conditions in the draft conditions that are prepared by staff. That's an example of one of many things that are in this 4-page document from the county.
Sure. So for that example, the staff review states that temporary uses like the things that are listed in their project narrative are allowed in this PR district, subject to board approval. So I'm recommending.
That's point 3 that we
Yeah.
talked about earlier,
Yeah.
that the applicant noted that.
So
we
it's
were talking
correct
about.
that I'm addressing it in a different way than the county did in their past conditional use approval, but I'm still addressing it and I'm trying to do it in a way that acknowledges the current zoning and the requirements in our current zoning code. So it addresses the same issue in a different way.
I'm concerned that when we end up with the final new conditional use document that that the village will be using to enforce upon the applicant, it's not including all the things that may or may not be approved by the Plan Commission that are in the existing conditional use permit.
We need to include those in this new app.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, but we could spend the next 6 hours here going through this thing. It's gonna take a long time to look at every one of these 29 items from the county's plan, whether or not they're included or not. And to what degree do we wanna accept them as they are, modify them, or eliminate them? All I'm saying is we're looking at a Herculean task to do this tonight. We just got these documents a little while ago, and I don't think, unless somebody wants to stay here and wait till the sun comes up, it's gonna take a long time to do it.
No, I think you have some good points there. We're going to have the public hearing tonight. We're going to finish the public hearing, but whether or not at the Plan Commission meeting, we feel as though we have enough information or not to take action or table to the next meeting, that can be decided at the Plan Commission meeting.
But how can the public,
So
I'm asking the question, because it's gotta be answered to represent the public that's out there and on Zoom and every place else. How can the public comment on something that they can't see, read, feel, touch? Because we're going to be creating it. We're not going to be creating it, I don't believe, tonight. That's what I'm getting at. How can the comments be received from the public without them knowing what's going to be in the document?
The staff report does lay out the recommendations of staff. Staff have reviewed the current conditional use permit and have carried forward those terms that staff believes are appropriate for the village. Given the regulations of the village, they aren't identical because we have some different regulations than the county had. And we are gonna make them comply with our regulations. So when you compare the two, you will see that they're not worded the same way. They're not all the same. I don't think you'll find any that are less restrictive. They're just, addressing them consistent with the, village's ordinances. That's not to say that you can't go through and do that work yourself, but I am telling you that staff has done that work, and staff has presented to you a recommendation that is on tonight's agenda for a public hearing.
Just don't see how it can work.
All right, are we done at this point?
No.
Brian, go ahead.
No, oh, I've got 5 pages of stuff there.
Are there questions for the applicant or staff?
Yes, yes.
We'll circle back then to Joe. Brian, go ahead.
I would like to know, when you have a box, approximately 400 people, how many are in the gathering area? Approximately, it's an estimate, I understand that. And then I'd also like to know, how large is the gathering area, square footage wise? Those are the 2 questions I have.
So the square footage of the usable space inside is about 7,000. That's not including the basement and some office space. And then when you do have 400 people, it is a ski area. So I'm gonna say at least half are out on the hill, if not more, or out on the deck enjoying, their time at the hill.
So 7,000 square feet is what they can occupy. That doesn't count your kitchen if you have one, doesn't count your bathrooms. That's the actual area that they're gonna be, the regular public is gonna be standing in.
No, I would say that does include the kitchen and the bathrooms, but it does take out 2 large office areas there.
Okay, so approximately what you would let your guests or patrons or whatever you call it, members, approximately what square footage is that?
If you were to take out the kitchen and the powder room or the restrooms, I would say we're probably just north of 6,000 square feet, maybe 6,200.
That's all I had.
Rob, do you have anything?
For the condition 3 with the temporary uses and club events and community activities, that you would need. I got some allergies. That you would need board approval for, is that something that's feasible for you? Do you have enough time to, you only have 1 board meeting a month?
Right. We have during our season, which is truly from the end of November until let's just say the middle of March. We do have events going on every day that's basically happening during the hours of operation. Where we have different events like a men's day or a ladies' day for the members that are there. I mean, it's during our normal, it's a member benefit that we're doing. So I don't know where we would need approval because it's just like we're normally there doing our skiing and we've done for 50 years that we've been there, over 50 years.
Rob, they'll provide a list of events that they have to us and then we'll get it approved at 1 board meeting. They don't go through
I just
individually.
don't want to make a bunch of work for nothing.
All right, circle back to you, Joe.
Well, to comment on what Rob just said, we're gonna have to, I'm just speaking out loud, we're gonna have to set a criteria when they need and don't need approvals. And that's gotta be in the conditional use.
That's point 3 on special events.
Whatever, what, we need to expand, but let me get through my questions on this thing, because I have some of the same things have been brought up. I'm still concerned. Kurt's comments about parking. I don't believe that with the 220 plus or minus parking places you'll have with this new parking lot addition, you've got enough parking. You, by your submission, you're saying that you can have as many as 400 people on the property. 220 parking places to include all those people, plus staff, plus food trucks, which you were mentioned in your application, and employees, the numbers don't add up.
So start with the food trucks. We've had them once or twice, hasn't been an enormous hit. So that really hasn't happened. The days that we're overwhelmed with parking are generally, we have one race a year that happens through MWAR, which is the Midwest Alpine Ski Race Community, which is very robust in southeastern Wisconsin. And over the last few years, we have actually taken pictures. We've averaged somewhere between 40 to 70 cars on the road. So if we added the 99 spots, that would actually off-gas any of that parking that did happen on Mary Hill. When people do come, they generally come as a family, right? So anywhere from 4 to 5 people in a vehicle. So it's not like we're all coming or driving independently there. So parking.
Where else do they park, if I may interrupt? Where else do they park besides your existing parking lot?
Well, we have our parking lot that we have there, and then we do have the maintenance building, which the staff generally parks all up there. I don't believe those are counted or thought as slots up there because it's all past the maintenance building.
So I drove past Mary Hill Road a couple of years ago and I saw that. And I know it's not that often, but there was more cars. Well, we don't want to see any cars parked on Mary
Yeah,
Hill Road,
100%.
right? But you're confident that you've maxed out at that, in that 40 to 70 range?
Yes, yeah.
And if we have anything on record from the sheriff's department or otherwise that the numbers contradict that?
I haven't received anything from the sheriff's department since I've been here, but.
And this is
prior
a
to
once
that,
a year thing, or is there more, is there other events that?
Well,
have-
you state that your capacity of the hill is 300 people. That's what your statement in your application. It's so whether it's one time a year or 10 times a year, we still you need to provide parking for the maximum amount, which is 400 people plus staff, plus everything else that's there. And my concern is, I'm asking, where are you putting them? Because they will not fit on 220 parking places.
Again, at our most bloated moment that we've had, let's just say there were 70 cars out there. And that's with 400 plus people there because they all come together in a car. So 4 or 5 people will come in a car. So I understand if you had 400 people that drove individually, yes, we would not have the space, but that's not the case. Generally families come with sons and daughters together that are going to be racing that day. So yeah, I'm very comfortable on that day that we have such an immense amount of people that the parking would definitely handle that.
I guess to the point, let's try to keep things moving. But so is that the event that has the most people?
Yes, that is the event. We do have the Ski Carnival, which is a member benefit. It's the Ski Patrol puts on a carnival every year, and we do definitely get more people than on the other average day. But again, with the new parking, that would completely satisfy that.
And you have 500 members.
No, we have 400.
You have 400 members.
I mean, what I'm getting at, I'm trying to be consistent with your operation as we are with other people, such as a restaurant or any other type of facility where we have parking requirements. We obviously, and I don't believe you do either, want people parking outside the paved areas. You don't want them parking on the grass, you don't want them parking on the snow, you don't want them parking on the slope. I'm not trying to be facetious here.
Right.
But if we don't have enough parking out there, we can't put a car out on Mary Hill at all. I mean, there isn't enough room out there for the existing traffic, much less parking out there. Okay, well, the next question I have has to do with,
Joe, could I just interrupt you
Yeah.
just for a second? Your statement in the package. Auspic is a private nonprofit ski club that presently has approximately 500 members with a wait list of over 200. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, and I think the reason why is because our family junior memberships are all in there. The 500, and you are correct, but those are also ski patrollers that we also did
I'm
put
just
in
asking a
that number.
question, 500 members. Okay.
Okay. Most of these other things are gonna get in when we get in conditions of the CU, and I've got 20 of them that are on there that we include them in the CU. It's not only for the village's protection, but also for yours.
Mhm.
Because if it ain't in there, you can't do it.
Sure.
Okay? Has the fire department signed off on the capacity of that lodge?
Then I'd have to refer to John Fink.
You could come on up, I'm sorry. Like,
I've never spoken with the fire department directly about our capacity. However, they're in twice a year for their inspections. They've never brought this up or said anything regarding our capacity.
We'll just make it a condition of the CU.
do you have capacity sign up in the lodge?
I've not been able, I've never seen one
Okay.
in my tenure.
Has the stormwater plan been submitted and or approved by the county to include the new parking area?
Yeah, I'd refer to Josh.
It has, yes. So the stormwater management for the 2010 improvements is a separate pond. It has a separate discharge point to Mary Hill. The new parking lot expansion has its own stormwater detention area and its own stormwater management plan that has been submitted, reviewed, and will be approved by the county.
So you've gotten approval by the county already?
We will, yeah, we're subject to, we have several conditions here to address, but yes. We're in
Okay.
process. It's not approved. We do not have the stormwater permit today. We want to start with you as our first and most important body
Okay.
for approval.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have. The rest of these are gonna be conditions and let me see what else we've gotten through.
All right, nothing else from the bond commission members? Staff doesn't have anything else to add?
Can I just clarify for our record that the applicant did respond to a number of questions raised by the planner, and those responses are in our report and are part of our record. I just want to be clear about what's in our record. Go ahead.
All right, so after the commissioner's questions, now we're going to move on to the general public. So if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak, I imagine there are. If you've not already done so, before you come on up, just hand your slip that you have to Elisa, our clerk. Come on up.
Thank you. That way I spell names correctly in the minutes.
So, okay, let me, all right, you're gonna speak though?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go over the kind of the ground rules here, or kind of the way that we would typically like to do this. After you pass on the speaker slip, you're gonna speak your name clearly into the microphone. All right, this is any, okay, and do you have any other written comments before? Okay, all right, so we don't need to adjust that point. Individuals testifying should limit their presentation to about 3 minutes. Your comments should be directed specifically to the public hearing item. All comments shall be directed to the plan commission members and not to staff, not to the applicants or other members of the audience. Speakers shall not make comments regarding personal circumstances of the plan commission, staff, applicants, or members of the audience unrelated to the substance of the matter of the public hearing. Speakers are not allowed to yield their time to another speaker. Speakers are limited to speaking only once during the public hearing. Proper decorum shall be observed at all times and be respectful manner. And if there's any questions, they will be addressed after all the public comments have been made. All right, so now I think we're ready to go.
Yep, I have Joan Plato and then Randy Plato. Take that. Thank you.
My name is Joan Plato. I live on Lake Drive in Town of Lisbon. And I have several questions and concerns that I want to address. Back in the March of 2025 meeting, there was a comment during that meeting that the outlet one, which is going to be the new parking lot, would potentially have access to Lake Drive. I just want to make sure that's no longer true and they'll be exiting off of Mary Hill Road. So that's one of my questions for everybody. When Osplick wants to increase their parking by 80%, which we've all heard about tonight, they currently have 124 parking spaces and want to increase it by 99. They're also want to add a quad chairlift, which will double or more than double their capacity. I don't know if that's a high-speed quad or it would be as slow as what their double chairlift is. But they may be more than doubling their capacity, and with their current parking allocation plus the additional 99 spaces, everybody who cannot park in their parking lots will be parking on Lake Drive, the new Lake Drive. So my other concern with the additional parking and traffic is I printed a map if anyone wants to see it, but the existing Lake Drive in Beacon Hills with the connecting new Lake Drive will provide a very nice shortcut for traffic to get to Osplick. They'll be cutting the corner from Silver Spring and Mary Hill and going right through Lake Drive. Google Maps will direct them that way.
That matter's not on the agenda tonight.
That may be true, but it does matter with the additional parking because we will have more traffic. So we'll have probably an increase of about 110 cars per day going down Lake Drive if you take 25% of their capacity. So that's 48 additional cars per day with the additional parking that they want. Okay, so the other thing that was mentioned was the lighting. We already have a lot of light pollution, so more lights mean more light pollution. Also, someone made the comment that the music cannot be heard in Beacon Hills and some of the other subdivisions that surround Osplick. I can assure you the music can be heard very well every weekend, every night. So that is not a true statement. So by increasing the parking, increasing the number of people Osplick can support by doubling their capacity with more chairlifts and more parking, those of us who live near Osplick will be subject to more crime, traffic, probably sewers in the future because all of what's Osplick is pumping through their wells and their storm sewers ends up in the wetlands that are currently designated for that area. So, thank you.
Lisa, you want to call the next person?
I've got
And I took down the questions that you had. I've taken those down and we will answer the questions after we hear from everyone.
Randy Plato is next.
Excuse me.
I'm Randy Plato. I live on Lake Drive.
Thank you.
And Osplick says they have a max of 400 people. They're not putting all these expansions in to keep it at 400. They're planning to go up 600, 700. I mean, if you think it's going to no longer go more than 400, that's a joke. And everyone should realize that. And as my wife said, the noise inside my house, you hear it every time. And they admitted that the lights will be brighter, which means more light pollution. You can only control that so much. And the parking's expanding 99 today, and it's going to be expanded more. And there again, I'd like to find out, is the parking going to go on Lake Drive or an outlet on it? Because it's a subdivision. And because of all of this, our property value goes down. Nobody seems to address the issue that now it's not a dead end street and now we're going to have all this traffic, and it addresses your property value somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 20% down.
Again, just this subdivision road, that was a different matter than what's in front of us
And
tonight.
yet we never got to address it because the town says they had to go before them first. And then you addressed it without the town. So people are lying to us in this town on either this board or the town board. Lies are coming and lies are going. So we have no real belief in you people. Also, these retention ponds, they leak. I got 8 to 10 inches of water in my ditch right now. And they come from that retention pond there, and they come from the ones up by the golf course. Nobody seems to ever really address these issues. That is a problem to me. Before these retention ponds, we never had this water, but we do now. And I gotta tell you also, my water's been coming through my well a different color lately. I'm wondering if it's not because of all of this massive pumping. I guess that's pretty much my key points. Thank you.
Next.
Next, I've got Jill, is it Saren? Okay.
I'm Jill Seren, and I live in Ironwood East on Ridge Drive. So we are, a little bit to the east of the ski hill. So my concerns and questions are about the stewardship of the property. I drive down Mary Hill in the winter from where Catesbridge cuts out. So I'm heading north on Mary Hill. After the snow machines have been going, I have to drive in the center of the road because it hasn't been plowed out by Lisbon because of the snow machines going all night. It is treacherous, and I've learned to avoid it when the snow machines are going because the snow plows just can't keep up with the amount of snow that's produced there because it's blowing, the wind does blow. So that is a concern of mine. I wonder if that could be addressed with this conditional use permit. As far as changing existing lighting, if that could be addressed as well. If you turn off from Mary Hill, Catesbridge, and then to Bracklin in the winter at night, which is, by 4:30, the light at the top of that hill is in the driver's eyes. And that is just the way that light is situated. So perhaps this conditional use permit could address changing that existing lighting with a shield or something like that. And then just generally, there is more litter along Mary Hill. It tends to pile up during the winter. If that could maybe be addressed. I know there's a sign posted that Osplic takes care of Mary Hill. Maybe they could do 2 trash pickups a year as part of it to pick up the trash that, it's just debris from the amount of traffic. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe.
Next looks like, is it Vincent D'Amato?
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Vincent D'Amato. I'll be brief. I do own lot number 18 on, I'm just gonna. On.
You can pull it out of there.
It comes out.
Yeah, okay, cool. Water. All right, so I own lot 18 on St. Patrick's Court. I just purchased this lot about 1.5 years ago. And one of my main concerns is the lighting from the ski hill. To be reasonable and to be fair, I do like to ski. I'm a skier myself. I actually used to work at Osplic Ski Hill for a little bit. My only point of contention would just be the lighting, floodlights. It seems like a no-brainer to put, shields on these lights. Nobody likes light pollution. I also had no argument against the pole height itself. I think that the height would actually help kind of direct the light. but just to make sure that there's no flood from the light onto the property. And then another point was just, with the retention pond, I have no concerns about the well there, nor a pump, but as we get ready for construction and to prepare, I just want to make sure that, we know what we can expect. Obviously, when we first purchased the lot, we didn't know about, right, the berm going in and, these additional plans, and maybe that's just my own due diligence, but I just want to make sure that, things are laid out. It sounds like from a point made from Kurt, just like if with a 2010, and if this was amended, obviously the lights are above the tree line and, at the bare minimum, we should be able to direct the light. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vincent.
Next, I've got Steve Garman.
Good evening. My name is Steve Garman. I live on Brackland Drive. I'm actually the property directly south of the ski hill. So my property line connects with the actual ski hill. To Joe's point with that light that blinds drivers, that light directly shines into my bedroom and my children's bedroom every night. So I would ask that as we consider the lighting and the shielding, not only do we address the future lighting, but apply those same standards to the existing lighting, and address some of those issues. The other concern that I have is purely the water situation that Kurt brought up earlier. My family moved in 2023, and for a period of 4 years, we would go days without water because the aquifer would be run dry, and it happened directly when we started pumping and creating the snow. And then when the snow machines were shut off, we got water back miraculously. So call that ironic, but I just think that we should address what's the maximum capacity of pumping water on a weekly, daily basis, just to be good stewards to the neighbor and not run those aquifers dry to the neighboring properties. Those are my two concerns.
All right, thank you, Steve.
It looks like our next speaker is going to be Edward Eck.
Hi, everyone. My name is Edward Eck. I live on Ridge Drive, right by the backside of the ski hill. And I'm a sustainability engineer that deals specifically with applications of nozzles. So I know snowmakers. An average snowmaker has 30 nozzles in it. Each of them use 2 gallons a minute. When you multiply that over a day, if they're running at 400 PSI, which is the max, they're using 200,000 gallons of water per snowmaker. If you multiply that by 15, you're at 3 million gallons, which is the same as a data center. Just to be clear, same as a data center. So I don't know how water is being regulated for this project. If it's pump, if it's number of snowmakers, or what it is, but I would be for a reduction in the square footage of what can be manufactured for snow for the hill. I think it's already too much. You have residents in the area using low flow sinks and showers, and then you have something using 10 swimming pools per snowmaker a day. It really concerns me with the other comments that I've heard here from people without water and with problems with their wells. I don't want to have to go another 100 feet deeper and pay $30,000 because the hill has 1,000-foot wells and I have a 270-foot one. It just seems kind of ridiculous. So being a steward of the environment and believing that every drop counts, which is what my company's motto is that I've worked for 20 years, I'd just like to see some firm regulation put around the aquifer use and snowmaking. And that's really it. Thank you.
Thanks, Edward.
Next speaker is Randy, is it Felker?
My name is Randy Felker, and I live on Brackland Drive in Celtic Ridge, right behind the ski hill. And first, I just want to thank the Plan Commission for asking the questions you did tonight. Due diligence on these conditional use permits is very important. And I guess I would just ask that as you do go through it, you look for specificity and not generic terms. There's a lot of things that even out of the 2010 conditional use permit that we're not held to. And we all have seen even tonight some examples of that. And so having gray areas within a conditional use permit is really dangerous. And so I would request that we take a look and actually have, you know, what those data points would be, so whether we can enforce it or not, whether it be the music, whether it be the lumens and the light candles of light, or even just the water usage. Our neighborhood does have significant concerns with the wells and the potential of all the extra water being drawn on a regular basis. That's something we can't control, but would ask that you guys help us in being able to control that. And as well as the music, obviously we bought a lot near Ski Hill. Like, we're not super, you know, conservative when it comes to that part, but there are times where it's pretty loud. And we just want to make sure as they expand and things get bigger, we see what that could be going forward. We would just prefer that, you know, there was detailed reasons that we could look at and say, we're following procedures, and if not, what's the enforcement for that? Other than that, I just want to thank you for taking the time and letting us be a part of the process.
Thank you, Randy.
Last speaker is Brian Lindgren.
Good evening. I'm Brian Lindgren. But I'm here tonight as a representative of the property owner to the north and the northeast. I run the land development company called Newman Developments. We did our due diligence, significant amount of due diligence before we purchased the Meissner property several years ago. And we looked at, you know, who was our neighbors, what were their hours of operation, and they existed for a substantial amount of time. Disclosures were included in paperwork and deed and title work for the land that we bought. So, you know, we were very comfortable with it, and it's proven to be a desirable place to be. So we develop neighborhoods for a living. We sell homes to homeowners who become residents of Lisbon and in the case of the other side of Mary Hill, Sussex. So it's been fully disclosed. It's very apparent in use, you know, and we have noticed no negative comments from any of our buyers. In fact, they're some of the most desirable locations we've had the opportunity to build housing over the last several decades. So we're here in support of their continued use. I think that's a very important point that's being discussed tonight, is they predate our neighborhoods. Osplic predates Celtic Ridge. Osplic predates the neighborhood immediately to the west of ours. Their operations have been open and obvious for a long time. I think that the point of this was to memorialize the conditional use paperwork that it sounds like through the course of turnover and county and village town transitions is some of what's been lost, but it should now be memorialized. Those uses should be allowed to continue. They've been in use for a very long time. And from what I've had the opportunity to read in the conditional use and the plan of operation, it memorializes those uses and it improves on some of the things that might have been deficiencies in the past. So all I see is an opportunity to clean up paperwork and provide an opportunity for good records and improved situations. So I hope you vote, you recommend to approve their conditional use and operation. Thanks.
Ron. That's all from people that are here. Is there anyone on Zoom who has any comments?
If anyone on Zoom would like to speak during this public hearing, please use the raise hand function. I believe that everyone present on Zoom is an applicant further down in the agenda, and there are no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, all right. If the applicant can come back up to the microphone, just to kind of run through a couple, we had a lot of comments, but a couple of questions. I can answer some, and then some I'm going to have to ask you to answer. As it's just so that everyone's aware, as it's currently proposed and laid out, there would be a second access point on a Mary Hill Road. There would not be an access point onto Lake Drive. the speed of the quad, that was a question that came up. So right now you've got a triple chairlift.
Correct.
It's obviously a non-detachable, non-high speed. Would the quad be a high speed?
Negative, it will not. It'll still be a fixed grip, one speed thing. One thing to note on that too, we have a beautiful triple chair that was put in 1971. It's the first triple in Wisconsin. But as you know, 50 some years later, things get old and it needs to be replaced. We're to the point now where we can't even find parts for it anymore. So we started this process a long time ago, envisioned to get a new lift. So from going from a three-person chair to a four-person chair, our membership isn't changing, but there's a lot of things to go involved with the chair. So if you have more people on a chair, you actually have more people in the air, less crowding on the ground, less people in the line. It's more enjoyable space for all. So it's not that it's going faster, getting more people up. It's the same amount of people. We're just going with a little larger chair to offset some of the things that we have going on. People in the maze are trying to get into the lift, trying to keep people in the air, to try to keep congestion down on the hill.
All right, your membership numbers right now, you have a set cap, correct?
That is correct.
And do you plan on making a change there? And then I guess the follow-up question for the staff would be, is that something that can be included in the conditional use permit? So I'll let you answer first. Your cap right now, you're at the cap. Do you plan on changing that?
At current, we do not, no.
Right.
To answer that, I would say I don't know that we can limit the membership of a private organization, but we can certainly add conditions to the conditional use permit as far as how many people can be at the site at a given time.
Could it be part of a parking?
You can only have 300 at once or 300 at once.
I mean, there's never a point in time when all members are there. I mean, right, but you'll have a certain number of guests as well.
Correct.
Could it be limited by the number of parking spaces they have in the conditional use permit?
That's usually not a 1-to-1 ratio, though. Again, the example I gave was the standard for assembly, which is based on a number of stalls per seat, and it's again, so it wouldn't be one person per space, but we could get there.
So what limits them to say, okay, we have 500 now, we put in this quad chair lift, we got more capacity, let's increase our membership to 750. It gives them more revenue and the parking slots don't change.
Sure. So based on, I guess, the information that we've received so far, the max occupancy number that's been used has been 400. We can certainly apply a standard through the CU of a maximum occupancy for the site. And then the Plan Commission still has to decide if the parking for that is appropriate. So we don't have that in there now, it could be added.
They're never going to tell members that they can't come. I mean, so I think the membership numbers kind of guides the maximum number of people that are there. There's certainly a relationship there.
So
Going to do that, wouldn't that have applied to like the Gospel Fellowship Church that expanded their parking lot? We're not going to limit them to the number of members they can have based on the number of parking spots they have.
I think the number of members is irrelevant. That's how many people can be occupancy in that property.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. And the occupancy issues are the building. And I think that it was a good point that the fire chief should set a capacity for the building. And they can't exceed that. And then the other occupancy limit is the parking. If they are not providing sufficient parking for the people that are there, then they need to be called to task, because we are prohibiting parking in other places. And that might require enforcement due to the parking if it's being violated.
I think the last question was, well, I guess kind of in regards to the plowing of Mary Hill Road, and if that could be done better. I mean, just so everyone's aware that the DPW director right now does work with the ski hill, and when we go out there and plow specifically for your use, we do build the Osplik for that.
Correct.
But I guess we can direct staff to, improve communications and have that be more, we had that process be a little bit more detailed, I guess. Most everything else I had as a comment as opposed to a question. Was there another question that the public asked that we should be answering?
I've got, I wanted to add to your comment regarding the access from Outlot 1, which is the land that the 1.97 acres is being acquired by Ausplik. So when the original certified survey map for Alpine Hills was done to create that parcel, Outlot 1, we had a condition that said, Lot 2, Outlot 1 in parentheses, has frontage along Mary Hill Road, but a future driveway from Mary Hill Road would have to cross a wetland that extends along the eastern boundary. And we had a recommendation for adding a note to the CSM that, quote, Outlot 1 shall have access to Lake Drive until its conveyance to the adjoining property to the south owned by Ausplik Inc., at which time Outlot 1 shall not have access to Lake Drive and will obtain access through Ausplik Inc.'s property. So as soon as that transaction is completed, that real estate transaction, Ausplik takes ownership. You've already gotten approval of your certified survey map. That access opportunity to Lake Drive goes away, and the access would need to be as shown on the site plan that would, that's being proposed that could potentially get approved by the Plan Commission.
All right. You had some other questions that weren't answered yet?
If you get the people that you get out there on any day, 150, 250, 300, whatever, how do you feed them?
We don't.
You mentioned that you have a kitchen in that building.
Yep, they're able to come in and use our facilities if they want to bring some frozen pizzas. We have a stove if they want to heat something up, but we do not do any food prep of any sort or sell any.
They don't sell food or beverages.
So you don't have a soda machine.
Negative.
So people, I'm just trying to figure out this because right now, the way it stands,
Joe, can you put your mic down, please, so you're picked up?
the way it stands right now, there's no food preparation, there's no nothing. You don't do diddly. I mean, you don't do anything whatsoever.
No, we do not provide anything for our membership. Our membership brings their own food, and if they choose to warm it up, we have a grill in there. We have pizza ovens, and but it's nothing that we provide service for. They just come, and if they'd care to do that, they have that availability. We have no soda machines. We do have a water fountain, but that's it.
So how do we incorporate something like that, Orin, in the conditional use to allow them to do what he just said, but not to prohibit them from having food service?
So food and alcohol are separate conditional uses that need to be applied for with a public hearing held. And they have not applied for that, so that would be explicitly prohibited.
So what this gentleman says, is that allowed or prohibited?
Customers to bring in their own food?
That's right.
Well, he's not selling.
Well,
It'd be like
it's
bringing your own
food
truck
service.
or-
I don't know. I'm asking the question.
That's not,
They're not providing the food. It's not food
Correct.
service.
if it doesn't require a restaurant license, it's not a restaurant use.
It's like bringing food to a park.
They're bringing in their own sandwich or they're bringing their own frozen pizza.
Joe, this is a
I
private,
just want to make sure because otherwise
We do have men's and ladies' days, so we do have caterers come in. They will have the food, but again, that isn't something that we are preparing. It's already prepared and served for them.
but why is that different then? I want to make sure that all this stuff is covered so that you're protected and the village is protected. Why is that different than Ironwood Golf Course, which they cater the food in? Do
private
they have a
club.
license for that?
I mean, Eric can speak to this, but it's a private club. So I mean, if a church does a catering event, they don't typically get approval for us to hold that event. They have most churches have kitchens. We don't do any regulation on that except to make sure they had a building permit when they installed their kitchen, I guess. But and Eric, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
No, I think it's a non-issue.
Okay,
people that
I
bring-
just want to make sure that you can do what you want to do.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
So, Mr. President, I think there was several people that talked to the water issue, the volume of water being pumped.
Yes, we're certainly going to address that, but so the.
Okay,
as-
I'm just asking, there was a question, so is that going to be addressed?
Okay, so we have the well numbers listed in the documents. I guess the question in regard, yeah, so the, the quantity of water being pumped at any given time.
Sure, I'd probably refer to John Fink to that. He's in charge of all that, for the snowmaking, which only happens for about 5 to 7 days a year.
That.
I'll
So just to clear up, so do you mean that the snowmaking happens 5 to 7 days a year, or that the water pumping,
Well, the water may be pumping, but I mean, we really go into the snowmaking for a short period of time in the beginning of the year. And then we do ramp it up if we need to, depending if the weather got really bad and we had melt off. But generally, we try to get it open and then we just let nature take its course. But I would let John talk to that better.
Could you repeat the question so I know I'm addressing it correctly?
it was in regards to the, I guess we're looking for at any given time or over a period of time, the quantity of the water being pumped.
No,
up
so the
ground.
DNR requires us to track what we do. We hold permits for 3 high cap wells that are on there, 2 of which are used for our snowmaking system. The capacities on them vary between 400 and 350. So our maximum amount that we can draw is 750 gallons a minute.
But you only make snow for 5 to 7 days?
No, we have a 5 million gallon retention pond, and so we can go quite a while using what's in the retention pond.
Okay.
How we replenish that
because-
when needed.
I want to make sure that people hear the correct. thing,
Yeah,
because
is very different than I think what everybody's assuming, that anytime we're making snow, we're taking water. We're not. We only do that when we need to supplement the water that's already in the retention pond itself. And that's varied. I couldn't tell you with any specificity because it depends on the weather on any given season.
So do you actually make snow for long periods of time?
Usually not.
Like
You know,
72, 3-4 days in a row?
3-4 days in a row. 3-4 days is about a max. That we'll do at any one given time. Then there's usually a gap in between that for a variety of reasons. Most of it has to do with moving that snow around and deciding how much, where it goes, and then being open again. So
when you're making the snow and when you're pumping water from the wells, those don't need to correspond because
They
you
don't
have
need
the
to.
pond. So I guess if we let's first address how often and how frequent are you pumping, water out of the wells?
And like I said, it depends on, if we have a very cold season, we can go very quickly and make all the snow that we need. And then it just depends on if we have thaw cycles, rain, and all those things, and we need to supplement that. So every season is unique unto itself. As far as the amount of water that we pump, it depends on, do we have to keep coming back and replenishing that? Is it being melted off by 3 large rain events? Has it been 50 degrees for several days or 70 degrees on those unusual times towards spring? And it melts us out before the season is ready to be done. It's very weather dependent, and there's no set amount that we would take in any given season. It's really dictated. Do we have natural snow? We'd love to make a minimum amount of snow. It's costly to make snow. And then just have the natural weather supplement that and just ride out the whole season. That would be fantastic for us.
So you actually run all your snow machines simultaneously at the same time?
No,
I've
on
seen it.
occasion, but
I've seen it.
that's rare.
So if you do that, how many gallons per minute are you pulling out of that retention pond to make that snow with the given machines you have today?
You're saying how many gallons can I pull out of that pond if I ran
Hey,
everything that we have?
You pull water out
That's
of the
the question,
pond
yeah.
to make snow. So when you're running all those machines, how many gallons of water per minute are you pulling out of the pond?
It depends on the temperature.
Just-
This is the way snow is
Yeah,
made. I'm
Well, I need to have
not
a
trying to
number.
be deceptive, but it depends.
millions
Is it
of
20
gallons?
degrees? Is it 0?
Is it millions of gallons?
So it's using an average 20-degree temperature.
No, when it's probably between
What-
20 to 30 degrees outside. That's usually when you're running the machines. I
Yeah,
know that.
I mean, we like to be colder than that, but just in general, are you asking, I'm getting two different things. Are you asking to see how much we pull per season or how much I can pull at any one given time?
I asked you specifically, gallons per minute out of the pond when you're running all your snow machines you currently have,
2,500,
2,500 gallons per minute.
that's correct.
Okay,
That is running everything and we don't do that often.
okay. So how many gallons of water do you pull, let's say if you run those machines for 3 consecutive days, 4 consecutive days, 24 hours a day?
3 million,
And how many gallons is in the pond?
5 million?
Okay, so you have to replenish that pond then when you're making snow?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so when you're running those pumps, how many gallons per minute are you pumping out of the ground to fill that pond?
750
750 gallons a minute.
total.
That's the 400 gallon and 350 gallon
That's correct.
capacity.
And how many more machines are you looking to add on to the ski hill?
6,
How many do you have now?
30.
And are they the same capacities?
Yes, they're all similar. They work within a range. Maximum would be about 90 gallons a minute, wide open. It's the way they're nozzled. And some of them are as low as 45.
Do you have any plans to add any additional commercial wells on your property?
No,
Do you have any plans to repair the one that's non-functional?
no.
So you're only gonna use the 2?
Currently, yes, that's all that's developable.
And they're 12-inch casings?
I'm not familiar on the construction of them.
And how deep are they?
I'm not familiar on that number either. I am sorry.
When the state has that on record, we could.
I think they're 1,000 feet deep. 12-inch casings.
I don't want to answer that because I don't know for sure.
I spoke to the DNR. That's what they said.
Was there any other questions that?
I'm just going to say on the record, I'd be shocked if they were 1,000 feet deep.
You might want to check.
Okay.
All right, so if there was no other questions, now that we're, or there's no other questions need to be answered, if there's any other questions of the petitioner or slash applicants from the plan commission members at this time? All right, so seeing that there's no additional questions, I'm going to close the public hearing at 8:19. All right, so on back to the plan commission meeting agenda. We're on item number 4, which are citizen comments. This is a chance to for citizens to address anything else that's on tonight's agenda. So are there any citizens that wish to comment on anything else tonight? Is there anyone on Zoom?
If anyone on Zoom has something to say during citizen comment, please use the raise hand function. No hands raised on Zoom.
All right, item 5 is approval of the meeting minutes from July 22nd, 2026. Is there a motion on this item? Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that Rob and Kurt?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
I abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't matter. The minutes are of the body, not of the persons present.
So you can abstain or you can vote. What, did you vote in favor or?
Then yes, in
Okay.
favor.
All right, motion. Item 6 is correspondence. Amarize, which was formerly Lafarge and Holcomb, provided notification of extended hours under Act 12. We used to have authority to approve or deny, but that is no longer the case under Act 12. So they provided their, am I characterizing that correct? Okay.
I have a question regarding that.
Go ahead.
Is this something that they intend to continue next construction season? Are they planning on changing their hours of operation? In which case, we should deal with that this winter so that we amend their conditional use, their operation permit, so we don't have to keep going through the.
They made no comments, Joe. They only asked that we approve this temporary time change, so.
Who did the inspection for them last?
I did.
Did they mention anything?
They said they may or may not, at that time, they did not, the scheduling had nothing in plans for it that they needed to extend the hours. And
I
that
was just
back
dealing
in-
with
I
what we
believe that was
normally
back in
do
May.
at Stark. Okay. Okay.
All right, we'll move on to new business. Item 7A is discussion and necessary action regarding the request of Mike Wickert and Ospec Ski Hill for approval of the conditional use permit for a downhill skiing and snowboarding with lights on the property located at W260 and 6395 Mary Hill Road. Lisbon tax key numbers of 0257.999.002 and 0224.999.005 in the PR, UC, and C1 zoning districts.
I would suggest we go through the existing condition use permit, each item to see if it is something we want included or excluded in the new permit, so we can take care of getting rid of the old permit.
So I think we can do that, Mr. Chairman, but I will remind the Plan Commission that under Act 67, we're obligated to treat this as a quasi judicial matter. We need to make a decision based on substantial evidence of meeting the standard of our ordinance. And so my recommendation is that we go through the standards, they're in the staff report, and we focus on those standards of our ordinance and ask those questions. Do we have proof that those standards are met or not? Do we find that the standards are met or not? And in doing that, I think we may get to Joe's question here, item by item. If we don't, then when we eventually get to the conditions, we can circle back and cover those at that time.
Mr. President, may I interject for a second? Does the applicant fully understand that what they're asking for is a new conditional use permit being approved? And that the existing conditional use permit that they're currently under will be terminated? And that means all the conditions that are stated in that existing conditional use permit, including the plans for any updates dated April 22nd, 2010.
If you can, whoever's going to represent, come on up, and then I guess staff. I mean, I'm sure that you've. Well, I don't want to speak for you. Have you made that clear to the applicant?
I think we've been pretty upfront as far as wanting to have a new CUP that encompasses the past approvals and acknowledges the village's control at this point. But I'll let the.
And are you aware if the new conditional use permit goes in place that the old one goes away?
I would like clarification from maybe the village attorney that, you know, we have work and it referenced just now a 2010 conditional use permit where that work is ongoing. And what is not clear right now is, are we saying we're basically like anything that isn't completed but is ongoing is no longer approved? Like it doesn't, so it wasn't our impression we would be voiding ongoing work.
It would supersede it.
Your plans that you've submitted should address that ongoing work. You know, to the extent it hasn't been completed from 2010 and it's ongoing, it's my understanding that you've requested this work to continue through 2032, and that is what is in the new permit.
So we're not looking back and saying, well, you need to get approvals for what you've already done. If you need to get approvals for what you want to do moving forward. So I think that there's probably going to be some issues and concerns that are not addressed in here, but I think large picture wise, you've made every effort to address the expansion, within these documents.
So just for clarification from my perspective, the applicant has the decision to make, right? They have the option to stay under the current conditional use permit as it is stated today, which we've stated that they're in violation of some of those conditions already. Or they can accept the plan commission moving forward and recommending to the village board to approve the new conditional use permit. But that approval would come with new conditions potentially under that new conditional use permit. If you're not willing to abide by those new conditions, you have the option to stay with your existing conditional use permit. You just won't be able to do any of the expansion, like the parking lot, which is not part of that, right? So it gives you some limitations, but you do have a conditional use permit that we cannot vote against here today.
So the
We're
conditional use
voting,
permit, allows the expansion of the ski hill, but it does not allow the parking lots. And that's really the reason why that you came in front of us at this point. So do you understand?
but you have that option. You can either keep the old one, or we can move forward and create a new one with the new conditions.
And I
But
think
you
it's-
have to abide by those new conditions.
I mean, if you want to do the parking lot, there's really no way around that. So I think, and again, staff has made that clear.
Yeah, and I think we've incorporated, I mean, I would ask, is there anything missing from the ongoing? And I'll ask this of the plan commission and the petitioner, is there anything that we feel is missing from the ongoing activities from the 2010 approval that isn't addressed in the site
I mean,
plan
as
of
an ex-
operation?
Without seeing the documents that are behind this existing conditional use permit. At one example, the building that's there, was that something that was approved as part of this existing conditional use?
Which building?
The building that's there,
The maintenance shop, yes, that was part of it, the 2010 conditional use. There's been a series of conditional uses and different approvals throughout the decades and generations.
the building where people go in, there's toilets in there and they cook their frozen pizzas. Was that part of this?
The lot.
This
You're talking
condition?
the lot.
Okay, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
The actual building itself, wasn't that done early 2000? That addition? Because that's when I had just started and the previous building inspector, I think he took me on his final for it, which was around 2000.
Right.
So that was the beginning that was I think you put on an addition. I'm not super familiar with it, but that's when I first started. And then in 2010, you did the maintenance building and another retention pond, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just so everybody's clear, that building was there for a while, but then there was an addition in early 2000, which I think was called it a ballroom or something at the time. I don't remember. It was a gathering room or something of that nature.
We had an old lodge.
Clubhouse,
Took it
maybe.
down and we built a new lodge.
Yeah.
2000.
We're gonna create this new conditional use permit with new conditions. You have the ability to accept those, or if you don't accept them, you can fall back on your existing conditional use permit. That's gonna be your option. But we're gonna go through and we're gonna create this new conditional use permit with new conditions. And you have the choice to either agree to them or stay with your existing conditional use permit.
I mean, this conditional use permit, the existing one, says on it, multiple improvements to the ski club property, including a new ski lodge, maintenance building, pump house and parking area in accordance with plans dated April 22nd, 2010. We need to get those plans and attach them to this and put it in the file. Because otherwise, this conditional use permit is of limited value because we don't know what it's talking about.
Joe, I would ask, is there anything that's not included on the site plan that's in the packet? if that work's been done and it's reflected on the site plan,
I
do we
don't know.
need the old plans?
I don't know what's on the
We've been-
plan.
Well, we've been told by the development team that those previous approvals are reflected on the current site plan. I'm not trying to put words in
Okay,
your
well-
mouth, but that,
There's anything not in the site plan and plan of operations,
I mean, the-
conditional use permit in front of us tonight. We'll make sure that it is addressed.
so the ski lodge, the maintenance building, the pump house, and the parking area from the 2010 approval, is it accurate to say that those are all reflected on the site plan?
Yes.
Okay. So is
Hey,
there anything
if-
else that you feel is missing, Joe, from that?
I
previous
don't
approval?
know.
Okay.
I cannot stand up and raise my right hand and say they're on there because I can't, we don't have the plans. And I'm not questioning the validity of the statements that are made by the applicant. But we, all of us can't say that because we don't know that because we don't have the plans.
Mr. Chairman. We don't have plans, the county doesn't have the plans. It's kind of moot. If there is something there, it's unenforceable because nobody knows what's on there. We're trying to clean up the paperwork and
Yes.
make sure that it's clear and in compliance with our current code. I think that rabbit hole of what's shown on those plans is just that. It's irrelevant.
Okay.
We're trying to clean up what appears to be somewhat have rough edges under the current approval.
You're being kind.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
that's
but
what we as a
the
body
plans
agree
just-
to, that's fine. I just get nervous about approving something I don't know what it is.
Aren't the original plans just a map drawing that you presented to us about 9 months ago? So don't the drawings that you've submitted then replace the plans that we looked at 9 months ago?
So the new plans that you have now,
Mike, come up to the mic,
Sorry.
please.
the new plans that you have now, I apologize, are the most current what we have. That's exactly what we're basing it off of
Okay.
from 2010.
Because I saw a map from 2010 that was submitted to the county that I believe you brought forward. And it's just basically what's presented today. It's just a map. That's all it is, Joe. So it's not any type of special document that's going to provide all this and all these, new information. It's just a map.
I suggest we move forward and address the conditional use permit that's in front of us today and the conditions that we would like to see in that conditional use permit. Then the applicant can decide whether or not they want to proceed.
And if we don't, as a board, we don't have enough information tonight, or we have a disagreement, we want some additional information, we certainly have the ability to table this until the next meeting. There's no requirements, right, or that we have to.
No.
I mean, there's certain items that have to be acted on within a certain number of days, but this is something.
This is not one. We can take the time we need to get it right.
So I think we need to give some more direction to the applicants and the staff, but, and hopefully we can get through most items, but if there's other items we need more information on, we're not forced to do anything tonight.
My name is Rick Ludwig, and I've been on the Auspic board since 1999. And I was president back when we did all this planning stage. After we built a new chalet, we moved in 2001, the board sat down and said, we have to replace our chair. It's not going to last forever. And that was the start of a 4 or 5 year planning process. We had to address everything that would have to be done before we could get to that stage. So we had the maintenance building, then we had to deal with our snowmaking system, then we had to deal with other things. We've been following that plan. That was a 2008 plan was approved. In 2010, the maintenance building came out. That was part.
The attorney is, if this is on point or we have a question, then we can, but otherwise the public hearing portion is.
Oh, no, I'm not, as in part of the applicant, I'm just addressing how these other things got approved and there were 7 phases. We're in phase 6 and 7 with raising the hill to put a new chair. And the other 5 phases that we've accomplished, or 6 phases out of the 8, that were approved in 2008, we put in $6 or $7 million into our property for all these improvements. And we wouldn't have done that if we didn't, at that point in time, have the approval for this site plan with as far as where the top of the hill is going to be, where the new chair is going to be, and where the line is. So we had to have that, otherwise we couldn't have started. That's all.
I recognize that. Brian, were you on the plan commission at that in 2010 as well? Okay, all right. So at least two of us remember that. So again, we're gonna have you involved if we have any questions as we go through these individual points. And again, I know that the site plan and plan of operations and the conditional use permit requests are very much related, but the item that we're taking up right now is the conditional use permit. So if I go to Eric, if I'm correct, and if I'm correct, I'm on page 2 of this report.
Right, and again, the focus needs to be on the standards of the ordinance, and those standards start in paragraph A on page 2.
All right, so I'm gonna read through these and then we'll have the discussion. The proposed conditional use shall comply with the regulations of the applicable zoning district in which it is located. Should I go ahead and, do you want to address how it was responded to, or do you want me to kind of summarize how?
I'd be willing to read the petitioner's responses.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, I guess we have the petitioner's responses in writing. We've had a public hearing. I don't want to limit it to the petitioner's response. We've heard argument that may be relevant to this. And now the issue is, does the plan commission find, based on everything you've heard, that it does or it does not comply with the regulations of the zoning district?
Okay, so on point A, I mean, the property where this activities would take place is zone PR. There are some additional zoning, we were talking about the UC and the C1. But the activities are the active activities are taking place in only the PR. Okay.
Yep.
So I think this condition is met. Is there an agreement on that?
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to B then. The establishment, maintenance, and operation of the proposed use shall not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare.
For the record, for how this is laid out, I've provided the petitioner's original response and then added their additional information that they provided as a response to staff comments. So both of those are present here in this document.
So I think the issues here would be maybe the, snow on Mary Hill Road and the water concerns.
I have a concern about the septic permit. I would like to see as one of the conditions, a letter from the county health department that their septic system is in compliance with the current use. Because the septic permit that's referred to in this staff memo was probably done in 2010 or prior to that. And I don't believe that it was done for having 300 to 400 people down there.
But with Joe, with all due respect, that, your chalet, can I call it that? That's the same size now as it was in early 2000,
It was?
correct? Yeah, that,
Same number of people?
it's the same size, yeah, and then they can actually have, if I do the calculations, about 10 square feet per person. You said 6,000. Let's just, for error, let's make it 5,000. It's still 500 people capacity. So, and I knocked off 1,000 from what you said just for error purposes. So there, if 400 people is accurate, and I'm sure you think it is, they can still have another 100 people if they wanted to. For the building size, for the building size.
That ratio is.
It's 10 square feet per person. For like auditoriums, it's 7, but that's not an auditorium.
You
This
have a
is,
holding tank? You do? Well, that limits it anyway, so it's in
oh,
material.
true.
When it's coming out the top, you pump it. Okay, never mind. I mean, that's as easy, simple as it gets. You can't make snow out of it. Okay.
Do we, so is this, and is this the point where the, I guess, safety and the plowing of Mary Hill Road? I guess the plowing as well as the parking, I mean, we can,
Yeah, I'll talk to staff about that and make sure that we're going out adequate amount of times, and they'll work with Ausblick to make sure that you inform us when you're making it, so we know when we're supposed to go out there.
well, and then as far as parking on Mary Hill Road, I mean, we probably need to have that better posted that there's no parking
Yeah, I
on
was
Mary
gonna
Hill
ask,
Road.
what are the rules for parking on the village roads?
There's no parking overnight, but I'd have to look to see if it's not signed specifically no parking, then you can park on it. So maybe a condition is that you send something to Public Works Committee to review potentially no parking along Mary Hill to memorialize it, and then potentially Lake Drive, although my concern with that is people that live there might want to, if they have a party or something, might want to park along Mary Hill, so.
We could just
Or along Lake Drive, sorry.
do it, adjacent to that lot, I guess, along Lake Drive.
Yeah.
I want to chunk it up with that signage there, but I guess something needs, we just put one there to, no parking to the corner.
I think if we just recommend it be addressed at the Public Works Committee, and then they can look at different
I want
options.
to see a couple thing though.
So
Yeah,
the,
just gonna
the issue is
Signing.
where are people gonna park? They're gonna come to the ski hill and the parking lot's full. Where are they gonna park? So there has to be a plan. So
You were not satisfied with what they stated tonight as far as going from, again, the most that they have, again, if we take them for what it's worth, that I have never, I mean, we have people here who live in this neighborhood, but I have seen cars parked on Mary Hill Road. I have never seen more than 70 cars there.
I didn't count them, but I know they were all the way up to where that other pond is, where you go up the hill north. So there was quite a few cars there and I've never counted them. So, but a suggestion, just a suggestion, that if they know they're having a big event like that, why don't they have a shuttle service going from the Kohl's parking lot that's always empty, having cars parked there, and then shuttling them back and forth to the ski hill so they know they're not gonna park on Mary Hill or Lake Drive.
It's hard to get skis on a school bus.
They
I
can,
know
they
what
can
you're
drop, they
saying,
can
but I
drop them
think-
off and then.
I think if we post through Public Works Committee, no parking on Mary Hill in that stretch of their property, that should be sufficient because that would give the sheriff's department right to write a ticket and not touch anything on Lake Drive for the reason that Dan stated. We don't want to take away from the pleasure of the property owners on Lake Drive and the subdivision at Alpine Hill. I think we just need to.
I'm just trying to find a solution for Osblick Hill. I don't think you want your patrons being ticketed on Mary Hill. I'm just suggesting that there might be other avenues for you to address the parking issue if there's additional parking needed. Not to say that there is, but in the event that there is and you experience that, maybe there's something you can do in regards to that so that people aren't going to be ticketed. Because I don't think you want your patrons being ticketed because they'll be upset.
To Kurt's point, is there an area of the property that's currently used as overflow parking? I think it was mentioned that staff park up near the maintenance building. There is some grassy area over there. I don't know the grade of it, if it's flat or level or not.
No storage.
Is there an area that's been historically used as overflow parking, a grass spot or something?
Whoever's gonna answer, come on up, please.
There's a relatively flat area just north of our maintenance building that could be used for overflow parking on a very temporary basis, provided the ground is frozen. I would give it an estimate of about 70 vehicles.
I mean, because I think if you're not planning on making these parking lot improvements until 27 or 28, you have at least one winter, if not 2 winters. If we post no parking on Mary Hill Road before this winter, there's at least one day, if not more days, that you're gonna need to address that. So I would encourage that parking lot to be put in sooner than later.
Historically, it's one day that we have that issue where people dump out onto. We do tell them not to, but of their own accord, they choose to.
But like if conditional use, we could allow parking on the grass for 1 year.
Could they park in that field before they pave it for that 1 year?
That's what I'm saying, 1 year, like that can be included in the conditional use permit?
I believe so. I don't know what our ordinance says about parking, whether it has
I
to.
would
be
not
paved.
like to allow parking out on that grass without pavement on there.
Well, if
Because we
we,
don't allow other businesses to do it. Why would we do something different here?
Because it's a 1 year thing and they have a plan to rectify the situation after that.
if we keep
Keep track of it.
If we keep condition 3 regarding the board's approval of temporary uses, then as part of those,
We-
it says in the ordinance that the board can apply conditions to those approval of the temporary uses. So
So for the one.
for the
one
race event,
They could approve temporary parking on that.
as part of the approval for that event,
For just
and
that
it's not
event.
memorialized as part of the CUP, it's specific for the event
That would make
that
sense.
we know generates the most traffic.
Mr. President, our intention is to move as quickly and expeditiously as we can on the lot for parking. So that could be as soon as this year. Provided that we have a proper approval.
Okay, all right. All right, so other safety and health and general welfare issues, the wells, the water usage, I think would fall under that category. Oren and Eric, can you, I mean, I know we have ability to do some governance here and others we do not, so can you speak to that?
So the wells are permitted by the DNR, and I think that covers the withdrawals from the wells. I don't think we have authority to be more restrictive than what the DNR is already allowing for those. So for high capacity wells, I think that's wells that are over 100,000 gallons, something to that effect, which these qualify as. That's why there's permit numbers that have been provided in here. We don't have all the details of those, but what we could do is have a condition that acknowledges that authority and maybe brings in some other aspects of, coordination, monitoring, reporting, and response to impacts without stepping on the toes of the DNR and their rights as far as pumping for those wells. So I've got a potential draft condition to that effect that I could read into the record. We could bandy it about.
Let's let Eric go ahead.
I'll speak to the well in a second, but I was gonna say in terms of process, rather than reading it into the record, I think we've already identified a few conditions that should be added. That's gonna be quite cumbersome to add them tonight. I know everyone wants to get it done, but there is an option of directing staff to incorporate these conditions that you talk about as we go through this and bring back a revised document.
That's what I would be in favor of.
And I could also go through the existing conditional uses from the county and let you know what ones I don't think are needed or how I feel that that's being addressed by another condition in either the site plan of operation or the CUP.
As to the well issue, I have had situations where municipalities have not stepped on the toes of DNR, but instead have required well protection agreements. So if wells are impacted by that withdrawal, and we're going to presume that it is if it happens in the relative period of time that they're withdrawing, then they have to take some action. They have to provide bottled water, for example, or do something. That is a kind of regulation that some communities impose when there are concerns about the impact to the aquifer of large withdrawals from the aquifer.
Could we limit them to operating only one well at a time? Which would limit,
No, that
which would
goes,
limit
the
the amount
DNR,
of water being
the
drawn?
DNR controls that. We don't have an ability to control that. But the secondary impacts, we may have an ability to control through the conditional use authority.
The issue is that the DNR controls the average volume of water drawn, right? The issue here is the concurrent draw, the impact of having 750 gallons per minute being drawn from those wells. And it's creating this aqueduct, this void in the aqueduct. So the question is, can we limit the amount of water being pumped? And they can do it for a longer period of time, but not as much water in any given minute. Is that possible?
The retention pond bigger.
So go ahead, Eric, and I think you.
I could do more research on it, but I believe that Oren's explanation is correct. That's consistent with what we have done in our prior regulations over the decades of such issues. Is we leave to the DNR the issue of withdrawing the water. That's not our role. But the secondary impacts, we may have some control over. And we have exercised that control in the past.
So,
But for the secondary impact, do we have to take into consideration, we recently approved a brand new subdivision with 40 some lots that's also going to be drawing on that.
Well, not to this level, not.
I'm just saying, because that's going to be more draw on that once those lots are all
But
developed.
that's a trickle, and this is pulling, what was the number, 3 million gallons? So it's a little different. Would be the argument. We did have testimony from somebody who said their well ran dry in the period when they were withdrawing water. Do have some evidence.
All right, so I think the items that we were looking for staff to work on here on this, on item B is the parking, which would be addressed in the Public Works Committee, the working with the DPW department, having a better coordination there.
Which item
the snow
are we
plowing,
on, sir?
And then we're still on B.
B as in boy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then the wells, I mean, so are you recommending a well protection agreement?
No,
or are you
not
just
at all. I'm
putting a
answering the
suggestion?
question of what's our authority, and I think we have some authority, but doesn't mean you need to exercise it, and if you exercise it, it has to be reasonable. Limited to the concern.
Would the commission like Attorney Larson to pursue this further, or?
Is a well protection agreement something that can be done in the future if Lisbon is getting a lot of notice from residents that their wells are running dry? Or their water
Yeah,
is?
it could be, there could be a condition like that says if we receive reports that wells are running dry and it's in the period when you are withdrawing water, then we're going to have to revisit it and work out some kind of well protection.
The only question I have for Eric is, whose burden of proof is it gonna be though? Let's say somebody's well runs dry. And who's gonna have to prove that it's actually Osplick
We do.
Ski Hill?
We have
would.
to prove it.
It's going to be extremely expensive to do that. Please be aware of that. And
gonna be a
it's
tough one,
not a
too.
black and white issue, that if this person does this, this happens. It's not a quid pro quo. It doesn't work that way. I can tell you that for a fact. So be careful what we do, because the cost is not significant, and at the end of the day, you may not be able to prove it. It's not that simple. It's different aquifers, it's different types of wells, it's different types of uses. Been through this. I'm just telling.
Can I make a request that, we ask the staff to reach out to the DNR about this specific issue, that there's been some issues raised by some of the residents in close proximity to the ski hill, and to get their opinion on on how we should proceed? Can I make that request?
That, I mean, that sounds reasonable to me. Is the commission okay with leaving that?
Just
aspect
be
there?
careful who you talk to at the DNR, that you're talking to a responsible, knowledgeable person, not a number in a phone book. I'm not trying to criticize anybody. There's a lot of people at the DNR, there's thousands of them, some of which who believe they know everything about everything. You need to talk to somebody in the private well supply division that knows what they're talking about before we bring information back and prove it as gospel.
I have a name and number if you're interested.
Wouldn't that permit writer be listed on their permits?
That permit writer is probably worm food right now.
All right, so staff will work on that and keep other comments that were made tonight in mind. I mean, to the point, I mean, the capacity, the number of snow guns is being increased by 20%. Again, maybe some will be used more frequently, but if we're adding 6 on top of 30, that's a 20% increase. All right, to stick on or to hopefully close out the public health, safety, and general welfare concerns, are there any other points that need to be addressed on that specific item? All right, staff understands what the commission's asking for. We'll move on to item C, which is the proposed conditional use shall be compatible with the character of the neighborhood within the immediate area in which it's located. In making such a determination, consideration shall be given to the following: the type and extent of landscaping and screening on the site. We'll go for that one first before we move on to second point. I guess the concern here, I mean, at least that I'm seeing, is specifically in regards to where the expansion is occurring, and the tree lines there. So to the south of the expansion and to the west, those existing tree lines are not, there's no trees going to be cut down that are there now.
That's correct.
Well, wait, that isn't what it says. They're being moved. They're going
We
away.
eliminated some trees on our Bunny Run as part of our fill process because they.
No, I'm talking about tree removal down by the new parking lot.
That's on the north end though.
No, you're talking about this to the south and to the west, where the new runs are going.
Okay.
I think that's our primary concern to existing homeowners.
Well, there's gonna be new existing ones across the street from the parking lot, so.
Not if this gets done before they get there. Right? I mean, let's just be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
all right, and then
I guess the question is, on the plan, are there additional screening on the south end where the dirt was added? That butts up against, Celtic Ridge subdivision? Are there gonna be evergreens placed up on top of that?
We are
berm?
planning to do a row of trees or many rows of trees along the west side and then coming around to the south side, yes.
so in the next month or next couple of weeks, we'd like you to work with staff to provide those details.
Sure.
Are they gonna be trees or evergreens?
Evergreens.
Okay.
For a ski resort, that's a good point. I mean,
Well, because the trees, they lose their leaves, so there's no screening when the leaves are off the trees.
So this would be basically, in the same St. Patrick's Court area in Adams, I believe, right? On the south.
I can't hear you over here, Sean.
So on the south and west specifically, this would be more where the trees would be planted, would be more in the St. Patrick's Court area and the Adams Court area. I would.
That's the way I'm looking at it. Assuming that's to the south.
Ironwood West and
No, east.
Ironwood East, correct. And Celtic
They're
Ridge.
not coming in my.
South and west property lines.
I'd like to see a detailed landscape plan to take care of
I
that.
guess as long as I mean, that's the primary concern, but the landscaping plan, I guess, is it already included? You asked for additional details on the parking with the landscaping medians needing to be further addressed. So you can kind of work on that as well.
Yeah, so I've got a condition in here asking for a revised landscape plan. That's in the site plan of operation, but it is addressed by condition 5. So that could be amended to include plans for additional buffer plantings along the west and south lot lines.
You know what the commission's looking for on this item, right?
Yep.
All right, so the next one is a little bit just general, but I think from the response, it's kind of, this is where we can talk about outdoor lighting. Are we in agreement there? This is where that would come into play?
On C?
C2. So that the lighting is a concern. I mean, I live miles away from this and I can see you can see the hill illuminated from miles, but that's the way it is with any ski hill. The Mary Hill Road blinding concern, I guess that's a little new to me, so I think that needs to be explored a little bit more. Has anyone else, has DPD, I mean, talk to the highway department, see if they've had issues themselves.
Not Mary Hill Drive. It's when you're driving into Celtic Ridge on Brackland Drive and you're heading north. You're looking at the ski hill, that light is shining above the tree. It's like 10 or 20 feet above the tree line and it's shining right at you. So the houses it's shining right into their bedrooms.
Is that what the safety concern though? I thought I heard a comment about road safety being blinded.
That's when she said she drove into Celtic Ridge and she was
I
heading
misunderstood,
on
okay.
Brackland Drive. You can see the light shining right at you.
Well, don't we have, isn't what you drafted, Orin,
It shines right in my
about
yard,
the
not where he
lighting
does it
that
with
it
that.
cuts off at the property line? Which would take care of that issue? The perimeter lighting, it would
that-
have cut off.
That doesn't necessarily, there's 2 points to that. There'd be a lighting level at the lot line,
Right.
but then there'd also be potential glare, which isn't necessarily measured. And that's where we would get into shielding that directs it so that it doesn't spill back behind it.
Lighting that goes south of their property line. So can't you use cutoff lights? So then the light doesn't go south of the property line?
Yeah, what constitutes the light stopping? Like a stoplight over there, you look at it, you can see it for a mile, but it's not really bright.
So the difference that Orin's describing is, do I see the light bulb if I'm looking over here?
Right.
Or as opposed to if I'm standing with a light meter on the lot line, is the light meter show, how many lumens does it show?
Yeah, I'm curious which of the existing lights is the offender here and which way it's.
It's the one that at the
oriented.
top of the ski lift. Right at the top of the hill, current hill.
All of our lighting is focused toward the ski hill. So the positioning of our hill means that most of the lighting is either in a easterly, northeasterly, or north configuration. We have no desire to light southward of the hill.
Well,
Right.
you're actually lighting south because there's a run, when you come off the ski lift, there's a run that's south of the ski lift. And that light is lighting that portion of the ski hill. And it's shining right to the subdivision to the south.
So let's review that. So
Absolutely. I mean,
if there's something
Yes.
that's too far to the north that's facing south, then that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
If there's something that's on the south, I mean, there is a run there. So if there is we want that lighting to be on the southernmost line facing north.
yeah, our latest survey that I think we provided, planner, Sumwalt, that it shows that there's a lux rating, which is the intensity of light, is 0 at our property lines. Now that, just like somebody mentioned, that doesn't mean you can't see a light. It simply means that its rating of intensity on that ground is 0. So, and that's as compliant as we can get off of a snow surface. A snow surface is highly reflective, and I think
Is it?
planner Sumwalt mentions that in his notes, that it's, scattered light it's not like right now, you turn it on and grass would soak up a lot of that light. Snow is obviously a highly reflective surface.
I'd propose to have a conditional on this conditional use permit that addresses the current lights that are there that are shining into the existing subdivisions. And that any of the new light fixtures are reflective and pointed towards the ski hill down and not out. That's what I would like to see on this conditional use. Now, I'm not a lighting expert. Maybe we need to have a lighting expert come in here and help us understand this. But I know there's at least one existing light that's an issue today on the existing scale. And I'd like to make sure that none of the new lights contribute to that problem because, as I stated before, that berm is 20 to 30 feet higher than where it was existing. And they're gonna put light fixtures up on top of that, so it's gonna be above the tree line. So it's imperative that the new fixtures that are adding are directional lights down towards the ski hill and not out into the existing subdivisions. And if they wanna have some light expert come in and help us understand that, I'm okay with it. But that's the condition that I need to have in this conditional use permit. That the lighting is fixed.
Eric, you wanted to say something here?
I think that staff has heard the comment and heard from the public on that as well. And I think we have some direction that we can try to resolve this with the property owner, but I don't know that we can do it tonight. I don't know that we can write the condition that you want tonight.
I can read what's in the conditional use and site plan of operation regarding lighting. Which is in the CU condition number 3. Ausblick Inc. shall operate all outdoor lighting in a manner that minimizes glare, sky glow, and light trespass. Ski slopes, trails, lifts, and other recreational lighting may remain illuminated only during public operating hours and shall be extinguished within 1 hour following the close of public operations. Parking, pedestrian circulation, and building lighting shall be reduced to security levels thereafter. Any lighting required for maintenance activities, snowmaking operations, security, or emergency response may remain illuminated as necessary, but shall be limited to the minimum intensity required for the intended purpose and directed away from adjacent properties and public rights of way. So I've brought up I've got a couple other conditions regarding lighting in the site plan of operation as well. I've got the lighting plan up. It's highlighting the proposed new lights in their orientation. I guess we would have to refer to the site plan to view existing lights. And I don't necessarily know the orientation of those because those aren't depicted on the lighting plan. But this is what we've got for the lighting plan, and it is showing the lighting levels at the lot line. And the standard is 0.4 foot candles or less, which is being met.
So we have no control if you can see the light bulb, it's just how many lumens are at the line.
I think we could, if there's a specific light that we know is causing an issue, we can ask that it be shielded.
We are
And I
certainly
think
willing to do that.
That Ausblick could
Commissioner
accommodate.
Lesser's indication.
Yeah,
We will address that directly.
I don't think there's any concern about the lights on the parking lot. And most of the hill, I don't think any of those are obstructing any other residents. I think the issue is the lights at the top of the hill, towards the top of the hill, need to be addressed. And that would include any of the new lights because that's been even raised even higher. So all the new lights and any of the lights at the top of the hill need to be addressed so that makes sure that none of those lights are shining towards existing residences.
All right, I think we're covered on this item. I'm going to move on to item D. Adequate measures shall be taken to provide ingress and egress, so designed to minimize traffic hazards, traffic congestion on public roads.
We need to have them add Excel and decel into both of those entrances on Mary Hill on both sides. They were half shown on one of the civil plans, but not shown on the rest of them. We need Excel and decel lanes on Mary Hill for both of those entrances on both the east and west sides.
Oren, what are your?
Is this I've got the site plan up, that shows the existing
Yeah, see,
entrance. And then this would be the proposed. So I
okay,
think
they're
it's,
not shown, they're not shown properly on there, or they were just not put on there. We need them on both sides of the road. We've got 200 to 400 cars out there, or people out there. We need to do this the same way we handle Vista Run and Alpine Hills north of here. Know what I'm talking about?
What's the commission's thoughts on this, or just does staff have any other?
Well, that's a pretty
Clarifications there.
narrow road, Mary Hill, right? You can barely fit 2 cars down the road.
It's way too narrow.
So if you have cars that are looking to turn in during the busiest times, that's gonna create traffic problems. So if you had turn lanes and exit lanes, the problem is, does the road itself there have the ability to add those?
It goes downhill across the other side.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Isn't one side Sussex and one side ours?
No, we own
Yeah,
the whole
no.
damn thing, unfortunately.
Well, the property on their side is Sussex.
Yeah.
We own the whole right of way. Lucky us.
I agree with Joe. I think, you know, for safety reasons, to have exits and entrances, turn lanes into the property is gonna help.
In Alpine Hills north of here and Vista Run on the other side of the road, it's the same exact thing. In fact, there's more traffic coming out of here in a very short period of time than there is in those subdivisions.
Eric, I think is that a question as far as if we didn't require a traffic impact analysis? I mean, is that something that we can enforce if we don't have the adequate, I guess, proof that it's required?
EIA would not even address this. They would just show
We could require a TIA, I suppose. And require compliance with it.
them. If you want to do that, that's fine. I just don't see the advantage of that expenditure of money by the applicant. But if you want to do it, put it on there. It's gonna come back the same way and you're gonna get a bill for $5,000.
I mean, it is an existing facility and I guess.
But we have changed traffic conditions because of what should have been done before in the past. Riding,
What has the experience been with traffic in that area, entering and leaving?
Well, we've added how many subdivisions to it? Or what we have, I shouldn't say we have added, but there have been a number of subdivisions added to the traffic.
There's a lot of traffic when that ski hill is operating. I can vouch for that.
And there's no doubt that the one access point is not sufficient. Having two access points is going to be a huge improvement,
think it's
especially
a-
when you're moving one further away from the bottom of the hill.
A great proposal to have that second exit right outside where the existing parking lot is today. I think that's a great addition. But I do think you need to add some safety lanes.
Well, I guess let's have staff further look at this. I'm not sure that we're going to reach a consensus tonight, but if it's-
My concern is they have a number of people coming and going from that property now. And they're not adding more people coming and going. They're adding another entrance point. I think.
Eric, I can't hear you. Can you? Thank you.
I think at most we could require it to be studied. Because I don't think the obligation to build it, I don't think we have the evidence to require it.
get a TIA. No.
and is the study going to state that it has to be not the use, but the change in the use
The
that would be
change in
required?
the use, it would be studying the change in the use. Does that give rise to a need for additional lane improvements?
Who ends up paying for that? Or is that
It'll be Lisbon.
I know, it would be,
They're not increasing the number of cars over the current use,
Yeah.
and they're providing an additional ingress point. Is the
And it's
study
not-
going to show that it's needed if it wasn't needed before?
It's not 24/7 like the subdivisions up the hills. It's intermittent.
I don't
know
wanna
if-
waste anybody's money on it, just.
That's
Yeah, I don't either.
It'd be nice to have,
I don't
but
either.
nothing's changing per se on the volume.
All right, so I think I'm hearing that the majority of the commission is not requiring that and that, but we are requiring the 2 access points.
Yep.
Adequate off-street parking shall be provided to serve the proposed use. This is item E. Some points of clarification. You have 124 existing stalls, 99 new stalls. Is that 99 a net number? Because you're removing a handful of stalls.
From my understanding, that's what, with the removal with those turnstiles there and what is gonna be added, it would come out to be 99.
So 223 is the net number at the end of the day.
Yes, we're
Okay.
also looking into, though, in the new parking lot, there's 2 islands in it. We're thinking about eliminating those islands in there.
But you do need to add some landscaping islands to
Yeah,
the new
those,
parking lot.
but in the middle of the parking lot, just for plowing purposes.
Okay, all right.
That's not according to our ordinance.
Well, then
Well,
we
I
can
think
keep them in. It's not an issue.
Yeah, I think it has to be, my condition states that that needs to be looked at as to how it can comply with the ordinance. So the landscape architect needs to look at that.
So Oren's gonna take care of the configuration. The question here for the commission is the 223 number deemed to be sufficient? And I think I heard enough tonight that I am comfortable with that. And if we're gonna have no, I envision the Public Works Committee posting no parking on Mary Hill Road. So if it's not sufficient, they're gonna have to address it some other ways with shuttling or coming back for more parking. So I'm fine with the way that we're addressing this at this
Who's gonna
point.
Monitor it. Whose responsibility is it to monitor
Monitor parking on Mary Hill?
it? Yeah,
Well,
not only that, but the parking in general, if it's adequate. After it gets built and gets used, who's gonna monitor it?
Well, they're gonna have to notify, get approval from the board on special events like the one where you said would they have the most attendance. That information could be provided to the police department to monitor
Could have said exact
The-
same thing, Sherry.
parking on the day of the event.
Well, and you can, in other communities,
they
I've
just
seen them
drive-bys.
require temporary no parking during special events. So that's an option if the village would allow it within the right of way. And then another option is for the petitioner to provide parking attendants during special events, which, Mike, I think you said that you guys do implement that type
On
of
the
practice.
one big
occasionally.
event, we do have volunteers that do come in, so we can try to maximize their space so that, you know, people don't have a lot of room in between. I know they've got a lot of gear to get out, but we
Right.
do try to be efficient on that.
So with the width of Mary Hill Road today, how narrow it is, it's a safety hazard to have anyone parking on that road anyway. So I think permanent no parking signs is the way we should go. We should recommend that to the public works.
Especially with the hills and stuff.
But I think 224, even if you average 2 people a car, that's over your 400 estimate if we have that starts us, so. I think of that.
I think so too. I think that you're gonna have some single people, but you're gonna have just as many 4 people cars or
So I think
whatever.
2 to 3, you're right.
And if, like you said, they can get request approval for that special event to have additional off-grass parking for just that one day.
The whole winter, so it's not gonna wreck anything in the ground.
You get families that drop kids off and then leave and come back. Do you have a place in your parking lot that allows?
We do have a
for that
drop
Drop
zone.
off area?
We do have a drop zone, yes.
Okay. Cause that's also happening.
I'm gonna move on to item F if that's all right.
Question, why is the approval of this special event a village board function as opposed to a plan commission?
That's
When
how it's
we
worded
go-
in the zone, that's how it's worded in the zoning code.
Okay.
Item F is the proposed use shall not be noxious, offensive by reason of vibration, noise, odor, dust, smoke, or gas. I think we're fine there. Nothing changes, right? Or,
Well, we've heard from some of the residents that the noise was an issue.
oh, the noise, okay, the music.
Yep.
Um,
How do we address that?
so I guess we have the music as far as the coming from the speakers, the, you know, the, I don't want to say the radio station, but you know, that music, and then we had the concerts that were once a year, maybe.
Yes.
I mean, the music from the speakers, I'm surprised to hear that can be heard, because I know that is not coming from the top of the hill.
Well, the people that spoke about it are just north of the ski hill. They're just on the other side of the retention pond. Their property abuts right up against Osplick Ski Hill. So their backyards are right on the ski hill.
You know that compliance with the village's noise ordinance does not mean you can't hear the music.
Is any different from the backup
It-
papers that I
it's
hear
not
from?
anything else. and-
164.
Ask the people down in Franklin. You can hear the music. That doesn't mean it's over the noise level of the ordinance. They're arguing about that for the next 20 years.
Do we get any complaints, Dan, on music over there?
I have never heard a complaint about noise.
I'm not worried about it until we get complaints about it. It isn't a new business. It's been there forever.
And as far as outdoor music goes, again, that would be an event you'd have to get approval from the board on, so it would be dealt with at the time.
So item 10 was on the site plan of operation is the live music concerts and other outdoor amplified performances are prohibited. But we did see in the list of uses that they have those now. So that is a change.
How do you control the volume of the music that you pump out into the ski hill?
It's from a radio that's inside. And it has that, but truthfully, I mean, I've been a member there for 25 plus years. I don't know if there's very few speakers. It's on the main run. And I mean, unless you stop skiing, maybe you could hear it, but it's very, very quiet. We don't have it going all over the hill.
The people that are speaking about this are over by the Bunny Hill.
Yeah, we don't have any, not to my recollection, John. We have no speaker there. It's actually going up our current lift right now.
So is there a volume control on the radio and there's a limit to where you need to set that?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been out there as a guest a couple of times in the last couple of years, and that music coming out of there is very quiet. I mean, but again, it's only 3 days in the last 2 or 3 years. So,
I think we need data on it if it's gonna be over the noise ordinance limit.
We don't have a noise ordinance limit. It's just a nuisance. If the noise becomes a nuisance, there's no decibel level.
You may want to just review your procedure on whoever, sets it up and turns it on to make sure that they're setting it at the right limits every night.
so on the concert side of things, is this the appropriate time to address that, Eric? So can you explain that? I know you wanted to revisit that issue as well.
Yeah.
Is this once a year you have an outdoor music, or you have for a wedding occasionally, you said?
Occasionally for a wedding. I don't recall ever having a music event out there right now. I mean, we may have a deck party in the summer. We might have some music playing for that, but it would be more for the future. We have had weddings in the past. If we had a wedding and they wanted it to be an outdoor event, if they would have music.
But it's down at the building. It's not on this.
It'd be at the base of the hill.
So if we have it prohibited in item 10, but we would, item 3 says that we have this approved on a list or a case by case basis. Do those conflict with one another?
Potentially. So, going back to I think you're referencing the numbers from the site plan of operations staff review. I do have these in the CU as well. So condition 5, is the live music, concerts, and other outdoor amplified performances are prohibited. That doesn't preclude the canned music that's being played through the radio. So if we wanted the ability for the live music, concerts, and or other amplified performances to be approved through the temporary use process by the village board, we would want to remove condition 5. If we want to entertain the possibility of it. If we have a condition in the CU that says
So can we
they
say
can't do it, then it couldn't be part of a temporary.
prohibited
approval
except
either.
for by approval of the of the village board for special events?
Sure.
I mean, a DJ at a wedding would consist of, be on this list of prohibited then.
Correct.
So that's what I would like to see changed.
And this
I've never been
doesn't,
to a wedding without
this
a
is,
DJ.
this is outdoor. It doesn't preclude something happening in the lodge. This says you can't do it outdoor. So we have to decide, are we okay with it being outdoors? And if so, we could add that language saying subject to, but I don't know that if you look at the existing condition that pertained to these types of uses in the existing CU, it says something to the effect of, so one special event, paren, a racing event, and paren for members only is allowed. No temporary signage is allowed. And then it says the property may also be used by members for occasional birthday parties, etc. So that's the current extent of what's allowed. We're saying based on current code language, they've got to go to the village board for events. I don't think we need to approve each wedding and or birthday party, but or something that could be outdoors that's above and beyond, or maybe a limit as to the number of those that can be done. I've seen that in other conditional uses.
I think you've got direction from the.
We have in the past, and we have gotten a permit from you folks for that. It's been a while since we've done.
All right, I'm gonna move on to item G. Proposed use shall not harm the neighborhood or substantially diminish values within the neighborhood. So I guess this is more in relation to the, the changes than, right? Or is this just the use in general that's been there for 70 years?
Well, we're covering use, I guess, so it's.
What are your thoughts on this one, Eric? I mean, how would you advise this one be considered?
Well, it needs to be substantial evidence, is there substantial evidence of diminished property values? I think we heard from a resident who thought that their property value was being diminished, but there was no, appraisal demonstration of a decrease. We also heard from a professional builder who said that he believes this increases the property values and he's able to sell property due to this use being existing. So I don't think we have evidence that it's decreased. On the whole, we don't have substantial evidence that it's decreasing property values.
And I think that one comment that was made about decreasing property values was more geared towards the road, Lake Drive going through than it was anything else. So is there a concern that here that this needs to be addressed any further?
No.
All right, we'll move on from G to H. The proposed use shall not impede the orderly development, improvements of surrounding property for uses allowed in the zoning district. No concerns there?
Nope.
Item I is the public interest and welfare supporting the proposed use shall outweigh the individual interests that were adversely affected by the establishment of the proposed use. The public. All right, so I think we're good there, right? Unless.
I think we've addressed a lot of the residences issues.
All right, J, all other conditional use standards identified in point 4, paren H or elsewhere in this ordinance are met. This is kind of the catch-all, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I think we gave staff some good number of things to work on. You're gonna work. We don't want this to wait until the last minute before our next meeting, so we want to have. I mean, if you can't get it, everything resolved between the planner and yourself with at least a week beforehand, then we're gonna push it off until another month. But we want, I mean, I mean, I think something's gonna happen and the safety of your patrons and the public, the sooner that that parking lot can get put in, the better. So if your goal is to have it happen this year, you know, let's figure things out.
And just to kind of summarize where we are legally, you've gone through the standards of the ordinance, you've found that the standards are met, provided that sufficient conditions are created to address the concerns that were raised. And so now we're focused on those conditions. And staff will work with the applicant to come up with reasonable conditions that seem workable to the applicant and address the commission's concerns.
To reiterate the chairman's statement, we need them before the meeting, not the day before. We need time to look at this stuff before the next meeting.
And again, I think that goes both with you, for you as well as the staff. We're all on the same page. So I think, and all 7 of us are in agreement that it's a disservice to us and to the public not to have sufficient time to look at them. So I know you understand that. So is there, with everything that's been stated, is there a motion to presumably table?
I make a motion to table this.
I'll second.
All right, and that's a non-debatable item. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right, so hope to see you next month. But we're still gonna do now, before you leave, the site plan and plan of operation.
I think we should defer that till next month also, till we see.
We can't approve that without the CUP being approved.
So do we want to have discussion on this, items?
No.
Okay, so let me read this into the record. So the request from Mike Wickard, Osplik, for approval of the amendment of the existing site plan of operation for the Ski Hill property located at the same address, same tax key numbers, and the same zoning districts. So, I mean, there were some items that were brought up here, I guess. I mean, I think we want to, firm up some of the timing, some of the dates that were presented in here. But otherwise, I guess if we don't want any further discussion and you want a table.
I think that the issues on this, email is the conditional use permits, so they're the same, so.
Do you have any other questions for us, Oren? Do you have enough direction to move forward at this as well?
Yeah, I think I've got enough direction.
There's no additional discussion. Does someone want to make a motion to table?
I'll make the motion to table.
I'll second it.
All right, so I got
Joe for the motion, who is the second?
Kurt was the second.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. That motion carries. All right, so we're done with Osplik. Well, everyone's welcome to stay for a couple more items, but we'll give it a minute if you want to clear out. Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
Me too.
I think we all would have.
Making snow and grooming snow at Ski Hill. Dragging hoses.
Next time I'll put you
The
earlier
frickin'
on the
hill
agenda.
biking.
Next time.
Water and alcohol, I never knew made snow, but it sure did.
And I missed the fireworks.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. I have them at my house.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mitch, I thought they were gonna drill you.
Yes, we have an agenda that we're moving on to the water.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
Make water. It's about 30 degrees below zero.
All right, item C is request by Desiree. I'm sorry about that. Corning for Joyce. Thank you. Farms LLC for approval of the site plan of operation for an equestrian assisted coaching facility on the property located at W239 North 8960 North Road. Lisbon tax key number 0151.997. in the A10 and C1 zoning districts. Oren, you don't need to read everything here, but if,
This is a proposal for an agricultural business related use. So this is an A10 parcel. That type of use is allowed as a permitted use subject to approval of a site plan and plan of operation by the Village Plan Commission. If you look at the uses listed, doesn't specifically list this use, so the Plan Commission needs to determine whether the proposed use is similar to other agricultural business related uses listed in the code. Staff felt that it was something that was similar and could potentially be approved, but you would need to make such a determination. The site plan and plan of operation is pretty straightforward. I won't get into too many of those details. There is an existing parking pad, if you will, off of the driveway that has the potential to be used by folks coming to attend this. And if there's any questions, we have the petitioner here.
come on up if you would. I guess, maybe this was clear in here, I just missed it, but you live at this property? Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Hi,
Um,
everybody.
I think that's, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a remote, business. So I think the fact that you live there takes away a lot of my concerns.
Yep, I do. I live there.
And for the record, you have horses on the property currently,
I
correct?
do.
Okay.
So somebody brings an animal there in a trailer or something like that.
Bill, can you talk in your mic, please? I can't hear you. I'm deaf.
How do the animals get there and leave?
So I have animals on site and I work with people
Oh,
with,
you don't work with the animals?
I don't work with the animals. The animals work with us.
Oh.
So I work with people who are going through recovery from grief, trauma. I also partner with the state.
Oh, I thought that, I'm sorry, I
Yeah, yeah.
misunderstood. I thought this was animal related. That's fine.
So this is like.
Yeah,
so similar
okay.
to what they used to do over on the ranch that the.
Okay, I understand. Yeah,
Yep.
I was trying to get somebody over there.
Need your services after this meeting.
Yeah. I should have brought one of my little ones along. You guys could have all pet them.
I'll tell you, if you're gonna use any extra water or if
Scratch.
you're gonna have lights,
Yeah, no lights, no water.
Thank you for.
I was like,
making
thank
this
goodness
comment.
I don't have,
You don't have 400 of your best friends come
no,
over.
thank
Okay.
goodness, no, and I will not.
That's the only question I had, Mr. Chairman. I misunderstood the entire application. I
That's
read it wrong. I'm sorry.
So
That's
you'll
okay.
only be using your on-site animals. You won't have people bringing horses for
Right,
workshops or.
just my animals. So one person per horse.
Oh,
or
Yes, 400 actually.
you should see some nights when we really have a lot of fun and it's 11 o'clock.
I know, I was thinking I needed to come more often to these.
It's worth the
meetings.
money, I tell you. We should charge admission.
Yeah,
We'll have longer nights, but that was long on one topic.
yeah.
So, okay, there's 12 points here. Are there any, there's a recommendation to approve. Is there any specific points here that are of concerns that need to be addressed or,
I recommend that we pass that. Just move on.
do you want to make a motion, Kurt, then?
Sure. I think it's in here somewhere, right?
Bottom of page 3.
The Village of Lisbon Plan Commission approves the site plan and operation and requests the Desiree Koenig for the property located at W 239 North 8960 North Road, Lisbon, subject to the following conditions.
Just as listed in the packet.
Yep.
And I'll second.
All right, is there any, are you looking
No.
over? All right, usually it's, you sign like that, maybe someone was wording something wrong, but okay. Any additional discussion?
nope.
Nope.
All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed say nay. All right, motion carries.
Congratulations.
You waited around
Like
for
the
3
horse
hours for this.
I know.
thanks for.
Thank you.
Oh, wait.
You guys are welcome to
I
stop by
have a legit
anytime.
question
Check it out.
here, hold on, no.
Not allowed. All right, the next two applicants are present on Zoom.
All right, so this is discussion and necessary action and the request from Kate Kramer of Heartland Ecological Group to approve a new tenant site plan and plan of operation for an ecological consulting and restoration business to be located in Suite B of the multi-tenant industrial building located at W230 and 5000 Becker Drive, Lisbon tax key number 0284.995.021 in the M2 zoning district. Lauren?
We've seen quite a few businesses that have proposed to locate in this building. It's a nice multi-tenant building. It suits the needs of this particular business. Heartland Ecological Group does a lot of prairie restoration, wetland enhancement. They have another facility where they have folks who do wetland delineations for projects that we do here. But these are folks who are on the ground at people's properties, working on those. They keep equipment here for that work. There's some space in the back for parking, and a lot of their stuff would be stored inside. I have zero concerns or issues with this use, subject to our general boilerplate conditions that are in the staff review.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented, including the planner's comments.
I'll second.
Yeah, I wanted that one.
Brian seconded.
All right, so you got that?
Joe and Brian?
Yep.
Yep.
Is there any discussion?
I would just add that I'd like to thank the applicant. It was a very thorough submittal. They were very detailed in their responses, which was appreciated.
I think this is heading towards approval most likely, but does the applicants have anything that they'd like to state?
No, I just appreciate the support going through the approval process. So thank you all for that.
That's
Thanks, Kate.
No further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
You can go to sleep now.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Good night. Item E is request by applicant Jordan Smith for the conceptual review of a potential future development options for the property located at N88W24882 North Lisbon Road with Lisbon taxi number 0155.995 in the A5 zoning district. So they're not, obviously you're not here, but
No,
you're
Jordan's present on Zoom.
Okay.
Yep. Hello, good evening.
This is one of those.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me and see me?
We can hear you. Yep.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, sorry. I really was planning on being there in person. Work has me traveling, unfortunately, on the East Coast, so it is even later for me. But I'm excited to talk to you guys, and first time going through this process. So if I misstate anything, I'm here to learn, and I'm here to get the feedback from the Plan Commission. So I appreciate all the help from the staff getting me to this point, but I'm excited to hear you guys' thoughts on my concept review here.
Oren, is there anything that, I mean, this is, I guess, for a conceptual plan, it's a good amount of information, pretty self-explanatory, but there's a couple points you want to highlight?
Just that we're not looking for any action from the Plan Commission. The petitioner is looking for feedback. He's presented a couple different options for potential future development. All of this would be through the village's certified survey map process. So he hasn't met the threshold of requiring a plat or anything to that extent. The proposed development pattern would be north of Jordan's family's existing farmstead. And so we're talking about the undeveloped land north of the existing farmstead that Jordan would like to develop into one of the potential options that are presented. The current property is zoned A5. Some of the proposed land division would require a rezoning to something different. The code allows for development on a private drive without a road. There's a section in the zoning ordinance that allows for that. There's specific requirements for that, that would all have to be met. It's, you know, it's hard to tell if this is going to meet that because this is just conceptual level at this point. I guess the,
Two lots.
yep. The biggest thing to talk about would be that there's a road reservation from EJ Lane coming through the neighbor's parcel to the east. The road reservation means there's no pavement there currently, and it's not right-of-way owned by the village currently. It is a area reserved for a potential future right-of-way that would have to be dedicated at some point. So someone at some point, whether it was county planning staff or town planning staff, thought that there could be a potential opportunity for a redevelopment of this parcel that would necessitate a road from EJ Lane. And so that goes, you know, I included the dates of when that kind of first appeared on a CSM back in 1999. It was also depicted on another CSM. So that goes back to, you know, when that CSM for EJ Lane that created those lots over there was done. So that has to be factored into any decisions. It's a policy decision of whether or not the village gets rid of that, but we would want your feedback on that topic in addition to the options that are presented.
She's sent an email requesting.
I couldn't hear that. Sorry. Could we speak
Jordan,
in
the
the
question
mic?
was, does your neighbor to the east, are they aware of your application?
Yes. Yeah, she's been a part of this process and everything from me purchasing or the plan to purchase either the road reservation portion from her or a larger portion that's outlined in my application. She's aligned with all that.
So she's aware that that reservation is there.
She has
Yes,
submitted
correct.
an email to me asking that the reservation be removed.
And again, she would have to agree to sell the land to this applicant for this to move forward. And again, Mr. Smith, you've had the discussions with the property owner, and that's obviously why you're here, is because you're comfortable that could move forward.
Correct.
How would you get access to those new lots then?
No, he's gonna buy the property and then put the driveway where it's shown.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
The
So
dotted line is what he'd be acquiring.
from her.
Yes.
All right. So you have a number of different plans here. What is your preferred option? I could guess, but I'll let you state that.
Yeah, so the preferred option for us would be land split option 1. I believe you guys have printouts of my application. Is that correct?
Yeah, so option 1 with the shared driveway or option 1 with the developed road?
Yeah, so option 1 with the shared driveway would be our preferred path. So it'd be purchasing about 100 feet worth of Patty, the neighbor's lot, from her, developing that into new lot 2, and then also developing new lot 1. That would be our preferred option.
So new lot,
Why you didn't split that into halves instead of a smaller one and a bigger one?
Yeah, so the reason for that, I believe, was conversation with Orin on the minimum lot size if you do not have frontage on, or don't have frontage on the road, which that new lot 1 doesn't technically have frontage. It has a shared driveway, has to be a minimum of 3 acres. So that's what defined the minimum of 3 acres for new lot 1.
Correct. That's one of the requirements in the zoning for a lot on a shared driveway. So in Jordan's development scenario, option 1, he's acquiring the land from the neighbor that was the former, reservation, and lot 2 would actually have frontage then on EJ Lane. And if it met the minimum requirement for the zoning district that it's in,
So it'd be a flag lot on through there and the road, shared driveway to lot 1.
it's,
I like the shared driveway better than the road. And then we just got a dead end we gotta plow. At least this, they have to plow their own.
I don't think we should own it one way or the other. I'm just curious if, that new lot 2 under option 1, does that, it doesn't leave you with much on lot two. I mean, it's your decision, but lot two is going to be fairly small when you take away the shared driveway.
1.5 acres.
Kind of small when you're.
So new lot 2 would be 2.1 acres.
Right, but it's 1.5 if you look at the excluding the flag portion or the pole portion of the flag
Got it.
lot, I think to Joe's point.
Got it.
You have a shared driveway, which isn't yours. It doesn't leave much. It's a long, I mean, it's up to you. It's gonna be your property. I don't really care one way or the other, but
Sure.
if you can't have it split in half, it just seems like that's an odd size lot. Lot two would be compared to the surrounding lots that are out there.
So we could, so again, maybe you want to go down to have lot 1 instead of being 3.2 acres to 3.0 acres. That's,
Sure.
I guess,
That's not gonna amount to.
Not gonna make that much.
that's
difference.
the most that we can do though.
Right, and
You can't do anything farther down on lot one because the buildings are close to the lot line already.
Right. And if you also look at the houses or on EJ Lane, 1.5 to 2 acres is comparable to what is on that. And just looking at the volume, I would think, and knowing that area, it's wanted to be 1.5 to 2 acres, so that is comparable to what's in that area.
Now, the other ones on EJ Lane are about an acre.
Look bigger than.
Orin, what would we have to
Of the
do?
three
if-
that are touching them.
Orin, what would we have to do if we wanted to make those lots equal? Do we have to, do a special approval to allow that? The three carat minimum?
It comes down to how they're being accessed. So if there's no road access for them, then they're subject to those requirements for a shared driveway, and that's where that minimum lot size for 3 acres for the new lot 1 on the north end.
No way of waiving that?
I don't believe so.
That would
And then
require-
there's a minimum width requirement for the driveway as well. There's a couple specific requirements that come from that section.
So that 100 feet of frontage, is that allowed for the R1?
That would be the minimum requirement for the R1 district. Yep.
And that would include the road, the driveway as well? That's also included in that?
Well,
Or does it have
the
to be separate from the driveway?
frontage would be just how much of that parcel abuts EJ Lane.
Okay.
And so if they buy enough land from the neighbor to get the 100 feet, then they would meet the requirement.
So I think I'm hearing, this is the camp I fall in, land split option 1 with the shared driveway. Again, with some ability to have some modifications, but the way it's presented, I don't have a problem with that.
Doable.
All right.
Yep, if that's what he
I
wants.
do,
They just.
sorry, I do have one additional question for land split option 2. Would there be any concerns if we did decide to only develop one lot back there? Kind of addresses some of the concern of a smaller, weird shaped new lot 2. If we just did the option 2 where it's only one lot, that's 5.3 acres, does the plan commission feel the same way about that?
I don't have a problem with either one.
Yeah, either option 1 or option 2 is, I don't think you're gonna have any opposition here.
No developed road.
Be no shared driveway, but I'd be fine if that was the only way. to- Just because we've had problems in the past with shared driveways.
Yeah, I think
Plus, you're not going to be, doing anything to, J Lane because it abuts up to the quarry, so that's always gonna be a cul-de-sac.
All right.
So there's not gonna be additional traffic, there's not gonna be anything else. It's just gonna go right through for the two houses.
I mean, I think if I'm reading between the lines, I mean, if you wanted to go with option 2, place your house accordingly, and then at some future point do a CSM to, go more along the lines of option 1, that down the line that you have that ability to come back to the commission and ask for that approval. But if you come with option 1 or option 2, I don't hear any objections tonight.
Nope.
And you know the quarry's there, so that takes care of that issue, so, fine.
Jordan, have you talked to the neighbor to the north of the road reservation?
Yes. I'm forgetting his name right now. He moved in a few years ago, so he's a newer neighbor, but he is aware generally of what of our plans of what we're trying to do here.
Just because your proposed drive kind of, goes around his property
Mhm.
line, so just so
That-
he's aware.
Is that
But
Clifford Drake?
Yeah, Cliff.
That sound right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he's so my parents have lived there for 30 years. Patty has lived there for 30 years. They are very close, which makes this easy process. Cliff is newer, but he fits in the neighborhood pretty well. So I do want to just double check with everyone here. There wouldn't be concerns with removing the road reservation because that, from my understanding, that is what is required to do option 1 or option 2.
Yeah, it'd just be a sign off by the village. That'd be it.
Yeah, I mean, road reservations are usually done for a reason and we don't like to see them go away if they're needed for the future, but I don't think any of us see the need for that to be there. So we don't have an objection. I'm not hearing any objections to that being removed.
It would be the board that would remove
It's an
that,
appendix.
not the
type
planning
thing.
commission.
The recommendation of this body or?
Yeah, there would be a recommendation.
Yeah, it's a moot point.
All right, you have any other questions for us, Jordan?
No, this was very helpful. I appreciate you guys staying up late to help me out with
You
this.
plan on moving forward this in the foreseeable future?
Yes, the plan is to at least get all the land work, CSMs, get it all parceled off in the near future, and by that I mean within the next year. As far as actually building, within the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the help, everyone.
No problem.
All right, good night.
Have a great night.
Item H, the quarry inspection reports. I think this is probably the last one, which is Payne and Dolan and Commissioner Howard.
I turned it in. It was fine. She could have read it for me last month. I turned it in a long time ago.
All right, no highlights, no changes.
I got to see the restoration plan this time, so that was kind of, but I mean, that's a far way off. But,
You'll be around, I won't.
no, I don't think I'll even be around.
No.
They've got, the way they talk, they've got a lot that they could
West Bend.
Okay.
cut into yet before they have to
Okay.
worry about running out of. But it was full crush mode. It was quite the interesting project to see this time.
Good night, Mitch.
Item 8 is planner reports.
We just have the Ausblick item that we tabled and potentially something on the comp plan update. We don't have any other application submittals.
Okay, all right, that's good to hear.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Hey.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. We're adjourned at 9:58.
Good, because at 10 o'clock we get another $10.